Good afternoon, everyone. I call to order the closed session meeting of the Mayor and City Council at 3:01 p.m. Again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome for being here, and welcome to those, and thank you to those who are viewing remotely. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Here.
Councilmember Charette? Here. Councilmember Canofs is on the way. Councilmember Flores?
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz?
Here.
And Mayor Tran.
Here. Thank you. Moving on to public comments for closed session. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We have no requests to speak for public.
Okay, we're moving right into closed session then. We will now convene to closed session at 3:02 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. Thank you to those viewing remotely. What a beautiful turnout I can see. I call to order this joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Bernardino, the San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority at 5:13 p.m. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Councilmember Charette. Here. Councilmember Canas.
Here.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Here.
And Mayor Tran.
Here, thank you. We will now proceed to the invocation pledge. Pastor B.J. Sims of Kingdom Culture Worship Center will lead tonight's invocation. Please approach the podium at this time. And Natalie Pardo, Senior Class Vice President of Indian Springs High School, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please all rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Please remain standing. We are going to go to prayers right now.
Good evening, San Bernardino. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I don't know if I'm going to be 1 minute, so you guys may want to take your seat because I don't want you standing this way. But today I just want to highlight that this week is very special because it is Holy Week in the Christian faith. And a lot of things and a lot of different thoughts about religion don't always translate to what it really is. The Bible paints this picture that the ministry of Jesus was the ministry of justice. It says that perfect religion is taking care of the widows and the orphans, which means it's not about title, it's not about accolades, it's not about strength, it's about our ability to serve our city. And today we all get to partake and participate in that service. So we'll pray and we'll be finished. God, we just thank you for this moment. We thank you, God, that in Jeremiah you said that if we pray for the welfare of our city, God, that we will find welfare in it. If we pray for the welfare of our city, God, that in that we'll find our prosperity. So we ask you to be with us, to give us favor and grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor P.J. Sims, and thank you, Natalie. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything to report from closed session?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There are 2 items to report. I will report the first, and the second I'm going to ask the acting city clerk to report. The first reportable action is related to item C on the closed session agenda, Romanet 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A and D1 regarding Mr. Mark Detine, a minor, by and through his guardian ad litem, Todd Allen Detine, versus the City of San Bernardino et al. San Bernardino Superior Court case number CIV DS 2016739. Regarding that item, there was a motion made by Councilmember Canas, seconded by Councilmember Ibarra, to settle that case for an amount of $1 million. That motion passed by a vote of 4-3. The votes in favor were Council members Sanchez, Ibarra, Charette, and Canas, and the votes against were Mayor Pro Tem Figueroa and Council members Flores and Ortiz. And now I will ask the city clerk, the acting city clerk, to report out on the second item. Thank you.
For item B, the evaluation process is complete.
Thank you. We will now move on to presentations. We do have 3 presentations. The first one is the proclamation for Water Conservation Month in the City of San Bernardino, presented to City of San Bernardino Municipal Water Department board members and staff, Tony Calicott, Miguel Guerrero, Robin Ohama, Ricky Van Johnson, Devin Arciniega, and Darian Brown, and Dave Malinowski. If you hear your names, please come up to the stage. We'll be joining you. Council, will you join me to the front to proclaim for Water Conservation Month? Hello, is it on? Can everyone hear me? Yes? All right, let's move over, balance out the stage. Who will be accepting this? Our president? Madam? Yeah, then I'll wait. Do we need some bodies on this side? Are we evened out, balanced? Mary, come, there's. Do we look good? Yes? All right. A proclamation of the Mayor and City Council proclaiming April 2025 as Water Conservation Month in the city of San Bernardino. Whereas water is an essential need for all life and a critical resource for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of San Bernardino. And whereas a resilient supply of water is vital to the growth of commerce and the quality of life for all who work and live in San Bernardino. And whereas the city of San Bernardino has entered the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation, recognizing the importance of managing our water resources wisely to ensure a sustainable future for our community. And whereas the month of April marks the beginning of the high water use season, making it an ideal time to promote awareness and encourage residents, businesses, and institutions to adopt water-efficient practices. And whereas simple actions such as fixing leaks, using water-efficient appliances, landscaping with native plants, and being mindful of outdoor water use can make a significant difference in overall water conservation efforts. And whereas the City of San Bernardino encourages water conservation through various educational programs and incentives to help residents and businesses save water. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and the entire City Council of San Bernardino do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Water Conservation Month in the City of San Bernardino and urge all residents, businesses, and community organizations to take part in preserving our water supply through mindful conservation efforts. We urge the community to join the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation by making a pledge at www.mywaterpledge.com through the month of April. Take steps year-round to use water wisely by adopting efficient practices, including fixing leaks again, adopting climate-appropriate landscapes, and irrigating efficiently. Presented on this day, 16th of April, 2025. Madam President?
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
I would. Thank you very much. I just happen to have a few words to say. And thank you very much. And thank you, all of you that are here today. And I want to just take a moment just to say that our ongoing water conservation efforts today, as we join many other cities and utilities across our nation in proclaiming April as Water Conservation Month. This is a great reminder that we all play a major role in protecting and preserving the precious resource, not just this month, but year-round. And thank you to the wonderful residents, all of you that are here and all of those that aren't here, who have consistently adopted water efficiency practices such as smart irrigation, fixing leaks when you find leaks, and using water efficient fixtures as well. And every change, whether it's large or small, really means something to our environment. So thank you, Mayor, and all the council members for this amazing community that we have, and for your support and hard work together. We've all made a difference, and together we'll continue to build a sustainable future for all of us. So thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give a round of applause to our water, board members, staff, the department, the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer.
Okay. And council, don't leave the stage. We have another proclamation. The next proclamation is for Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of San Bernardino, April 2025, presented to Ashley Brookshire of San Bernardino County Children's Network. Ashley, are you here? Come on stage. Please give a round of applause. So proclamation of the mayor and entire city council proclaiming April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of San Bernardino. Whereas April 2025 has been proclaimed as Child Abuse Prevention Month by the state and federal government for the purpose of promoting community involvement in preventing child abuse. All children have the right to receive the care, protection, and guidance a family provides. They have the right to be free from harm and to have their physical, emotional, and educational needs met. And whereas just over 31,000 children in San Bernardino County were referred in 2024 to the Children and Family Services for suspected child abuse and neglect. Children's Assessment Center staff, Children and Family Services social workers, public health nurses, law enforcement officers, educators, behavioral health clinicians, and others in the field are dedicated, compassionate, and skilled individuals working under the enormous pressure to protect children. The prevention of child abuse requires rigorous solutions, energy, strength, determination, and commitment on the part of concerned citizens and the community. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between the Children's Network and Children's Fund in partnership with the Children and Family Services, Department of Public Health, First Five San Bernardino, Community Action Partnership, County Superintendent of Schools, Sheriff's Department, Child Care Planning Council, Department of Behavioral Health, Preschool Services Department, County Library, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, Children's Assessment Center, Loma Linda University Children's Hospital, and County Fire Department. And whereas the blue ribbon is the international symbol for child abuse prevention, the Children's Network has planned a blue ribbon media campaign, educational materials distribution, and the 26th annual Shine a Light on Child Abuse Prevention Award ceremony to increase awareness of child abuse during the month of April. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of San Bernardino and encourage all residents and citizens to participate in the events offered by the San Bernardino County and join in the efforts to end child abuse, presented on the 16th day of April 2025. Thank you. Do you would like a few words to say? Sure.
So thank you, Mayor and Council and City staff. And thank you for proclaiming April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of San Bernardino. Child abuse comes in many forms. It may include physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. We recognize the detrimental effects that child abuse and neglect have not on only a victim's health and well-being, but on the health of our communities. Studies such as the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs, demonstrate that children who experience severe adversity and maltreatment are far more likely to experience negative health and behavioral health outcomes later on in life. We all benefit when children are safe, stable, and have nurturing environments that help prevent ACEs and promote positive childhood experiences. Suspected childhood abuse can be anonymously reported by calling the Child Abuse Hotline at 800-827-8724. Each one of you serves as the eyes and ears of the community. It only takes a minute for a call that might help a child in need. And I wanted just the brief data perspective that, as Mayor Tran pronounced that there were just over 31,000 referrals in San Bernardino County of suspected child abuse in 2024. Of those 31,061 referrals, 5,095 came from the city of San Bernardino. So, of course, we thank you for having us here tonight, and thank you for the proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do for our children. Quick picture. Thank you, council. We will move on to the third presentation, and this is the Pavement Management Plan and Asset Inventory Program Update presentation presented by our Azam. I can't pronounce your last name. How do you pronounce your last name?
Japshi.
Japshi.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Oh, what an exciting night. The City of San Bernardino is committed to an exciting and ambitious effort in 2025 and 2026 and throughout to assess and improve payment conditions across the city. As part of this initiative, we are pleased to introduce Vivek Jha from Nichols Consulting Engineers, who has been working closely with our Public Works team to develop the City Pavement Management Plan. Vivek will outline data-driven strategies for roadway improvements and will provide recommendations to help prioritize investments over the coming months. His presentation will highlight how the city plans to enhance roadway quality while making the most effective use of available resources. And the vehicle that you saw on the front is not the Google Street vehicle. It's a pavement management vehicle that you're going to be able to see throughout in the next few months in assessing all the roadway segments. 650 center line miles will be assessed part of this pavement management plan. And with that, I will turn it to Vivek to introduce the plan.
Thanks, Azam. Thank you, Mayor and the City Council, for allowing NC to present what we have been doing with Azam's team for the past few months and what we'll be doing going forward. So what's on the agenda today is, just making sure. What is payment management? So just a brief overview. How is the city approaching the program? What else are we doing with the payment management and the overall schedule of the project? Just a quick overview on NCE. So Nichols Consulting Engineers, we are the preeminent payment management firm across California and along the West Coast. We are assisting about 90 cities in just Southern California. We do a lot of training and certification on behalf of Orange County Transportation Authority, which is the MPO manages Orange County, as well as MTC, which is an MPO in the Bay Area. What we bring to the table is certified inspectors, and data collection vehicle that you see outside is actually certified through an independent organization, making sure the data we collect is uniform throughout. We do have a lot of inspectors on our team which will make sure the data collected through the automation actually makes sense. And we have a lot of vehicles. This is one of the 7 vehicles that's at our disposal to collect the data. So what's the key benefits? The biggest part of doing a payment management is to understand what does the city own, and then use data to drive our decision making, right? So that's the biggest part of it. It also will help the city Azam's team to figure out how to do a proactive maintenance planning, right? So we can get ahead of it before the road starts failing, and again, optimizing the resources. So what is payment management program? So it basically wants to answer 4 big questions. What streets does the city own, right? So that's a big question because we have a map. We want to know what do we own, what does our neighbors own, what does the county own within the city, what conditions they are in. So we want to figure out what conditions they are in and what repairs are needed when and how much funding do we need. And the best way I like to think about it is like a health checkup, right? So we want to go to the doctor to figure out where do we stand, what medication do we need, if any. Do we need to get onto a diet control, right? Do we need to work out more? And that's what we are doing for your streets. This is a quick overview of our process. So the first step in it is develop inventory. And since we won the project, that has taken a lot of time. And I'll kind of show what that means. That's been done. Now we are performing the condition survey. At the same time, we'll start inputting maintenance needs and records. That's what the city has been doing, what the city is planning to do in the near future. Once we do that, we'll start developing a decision tree, which is basically a flow chart of if the street is fair, what should we do? If the street is really good, what should we be doing? And then it comes to the fun part of budget analysis. Where does the council, Azam's team see where we want to be in the short term and the long term future? And how do we get there? How much money do we need? Do we need to be more aggressive, less aggressive? And then, we'll prepare a report and then develop an implementation plan, right? So we want to leave Azam's team with a document that can be readily applicable to this network. So like I said, so what are the main thing we have been doing till now is basically we took the county map and went every street by street and making sure, does that street belong to the city? So that was the first big task. Then within every street, we are looking at every 50 foot of your street to figure out what does it look like, right? So we can combine them into one uniform sections. And the best way to think about it is if you have, let's say, 3,000 feet of street, which goes from poor to very good, and if you were to rate it just one number, right, you would have a weighted average of it, right? So it would say a 60, but it would have a part of 20, a part of 40, a part of 60, a part of 80, and part of 100. And you would never figure out what's the right medication for that street or the treatment for the street. So our staff went out and looked at about 5,100, out of the 650 centerline miles that the city owns. We looked at every 50 foot of available imagery and figured out there is about 5,100 sections within the network. And that's why it took so long, because there is no automation here. You have to physically sit down at a desktop and go through every 50 foot of street. And it takes months to do that, right? But what it does, it helps set up the city for the next decade, right? Because as we start entering the data into the system, we have a very good idea of like what it owns, what it really needs any time going forward. So one of the ways to look at road condition is called Pavement Condition Index, or PCI. It goes from 0 to 100, 0 being the worst, 100 being the best. And this is very uniform. So this is an ASTM standard developed by the Army Corps of Engineers in the 70s, and it has evolved through the last 50 years, right? But the best way to think about it is it's an ASTM, so as you compare yourself to other agencies, or even within your street network, it's going through that process that we are using to make sure it's within the scale, so you can compare apples to apples. Within the neighborhood, within bigger like blocks, and by neighboring agencies across the state, across the country, and across almost like many countries adopt ASTM to do that, right? So this is a very good gauge of, hey, what's my street PCI? And it says 62, so you know where it falls. And now below, there are some examples, like a 93 street, you can see no distresses on the pictures. Once it gets into the 60s, you start seeing cracks show up on the thing, and then like a 23 is basically the road falling apart. And below 20 is almost you are functionally, like when you drive, it's almost failed, but you can still drive it, right? But it's functionally has failed its life. So what we show on the screen, again, we are collecting data right now. So this is based on the local street survey that was done in 2022. So San Bernardino reported to be at 66. As you compare, Highland is at 63. Rancho Cucamonga is at 69. These are neighboring agencies. So every 2 years across California, NCE performs a local street survey where we ask every agency, what's your street network condition at? How much money are you putting into the system, right? So what it does is we can then go, and that's a separate project we do on behalf of the local agency, is then kind of go to the local state senate and say, hey, we need more money because there is an X amount of shortfall, right? So that kind of gives us the ammunition to ask what it is. So that also helps us compare as we do the project, what's happening throughout. So let's get into the meat of it. So like Azam said, the vehicle outside, is our data collection vehicle. And that's the biggest tool here, right? So we need LiDAR, so which is basically shooting down lasers on your roadways, figuring it out, hairline cracks, and everything that you see on it. Very high resolution cameras. So I think the vehicle outside has five cameras and then a 360 camera, so 6 of them. So that's why it looks like a Google car, but it's not. A lot of GPS on it because everything, sorry, thanks. Everything, we need to note out where it is, right? So we are taking pictures, we are taking scans, and we need to know exactly where it is. And our GPS is about 5 to 10 foot accuracy. So every time we take an image, we know exactly where we are at. On the back end, we need a very robust GIS team, that is Geographic Information System, and we have a lot of programmers. So even though we are a civil engineering company, we have a lot of programmers who are doing this on the back end. And like I said, our data collection team, they are all certified, the equipment is certified. And the reason I bring this again and again is we talked about PCI being 0 to 100. So we need the vehicle and the people doing the data collection who are trained, who are certified independently. And then, we hear a lot nowadays about modeling. So we have our own models, which looks at all the scans, looks at the images, and figures out what the pavement is, what's happening on the pavement, right? And then we do our quality assurance before the data is going to be submitted to the city. So that's the van outside. So like you can see, the cameras on there, the GPS, the black rod that's coming out, and the back of the vehicle is our laser scanner, which shoots about, I would think, like about 100,000 points per second, right? So this is how you are able to capture everything that is happening on your road, which is looking down, while our cameras are looking out and getting a 360 view of the road and everything that the city owns. What comes out of it is on the back end, when we are modeling the data, this is what you see. So like on the right-hand side of the image, what you see is there is crack patterns developing, and our laser scanner is able to pick all of that, right? If there is a patch on the road, we'll be able to pick up that, and it starts putting in different buckets, right? So you have a lot of distresses, about 39 total distresses based on ASTM and pavement engineering, and every time it looks at the distress, it puts in a bucket, right? And then it eventually calculates a PCI score based on all the data that went in there. So again, this is more like what the city council can see at the end of our project is, once we are done with our condition assessment, how does the city network look like, right? What's good, what's fair, what's poor, a big picture. And also we can drill down to different arterial street, collector, and local street. What's the breakdown of that? So that's the first step. The other step we'll look at is start figuring it out based on the past bid tabs, not just from the city, but like Highland, Rancho. We look at all of those data to figure out what's a typical maintenance cost, construction cost that's happening within San Bernardino County, within Riverside County, and start developing this curve. And the big thing to look at this curve is, this is how typically a pavement will deteriorate. That's just like, historically, there is enough modeling done that this is how it will deteriorate. And as you can see, like if you look at all the way down, it starts at 40 cents per square foot. So that's a good pavement, requires only 40 cents per square foot to maintain it. And as the pavement deteriorates, you pay up to about $12 per square foot, right? So you can see the range of cost that goes in to maintaining the street. And the whole idea of doing a pavement management is trying to catch the street in the minor resurfacing and preventative, right? So you're spending about $3 or something on the street rather than $12, right? So that's the whole idea of, can we model out in the future when this street should be done so that we can save all that money. As part of, once we do that, we'll start kind of able to figure out how much money does the city need to get to a PCI. Based on the budget, how much like centerline miles we'll be treating every year, pavement surface area like paved, what is going to be the PCI once we spend X amount of dollar. So that's like the basic thing. But we can also look at different scenarios now. So once we look at the entire city, entire 650 miles, we can say, hey, if we want to do all the bad street first, what happens? So in this case, we did an analysis where we looked at the existing funding, what's the amount of money required for the worst first approach, what's the funding required to maintain a PCI of certain level, right? If you remember from the other chart, like currently the California statewide average is 65. And we are currently doing the new survey, so it's going to come out in like a year. But based on Azam's team, the city council, where do we want to be in like the 5-year plan? right? And then what's the money required every year to get to it, right? We can do a lot of like combination of treatment, but a lot of time what we tell clients and the cities is, let's be practical, right? We can have a moonshot goal, like, which is great, like, hey, that's our North Star. But in the short term, we need to be realistic so that we are always like very laser focused as we go year on year, how do we get there? At the same time, we can do all of thing is, okay, if the city spends X amount of million, what happens to our deferred maintenance? And deferred maintenance is you should have done something today, but you cannot afford to do it because, you have other things to do. So that gets pushed off, right? So a road which requires $2 today might require $2 tomorrow, but requires $4 the year after. And in 7 years, it might require $12, right? And that's what deferred maintenance is. So the more you push out, the more expensive it gets. And then the whole part of a PMP program is balancing that out, right? Which street gets pushed off. Because sometimes the street, once it starts becoming bad, then it will just need the same amount of money, because you're just going to go out there, rip it all out. So spending $10 today and $10 3 years from now is going to stay the same other than inflation. But you can use that $10 on good street and kind of raise the PCI. And it's kind of counterintuitive to say like, hey, why are we doing something which is good and not which is something really bad? But that's what payment management is here to figure out, the cost-benefit analysis of like which street is done and why it's being done. So that's part of our PMP program. As you can see, when we showed up, there were like 6 cameras out there. And this is where our automation comes in, right? So we are taking all these pictures. I think probably we'll end up taking few million pictures across the city. And, we use our AI algorithms then to figure out what all is there on the street, right? So we want to figure out where are all the signs within the street, what's the pavement marking looks like, where do we have sidewalks, where we don't have sidewalks, where are the curb ramps, where are the corners with no curb ramps, right? So we start building out this inventory at the same time after the PMP is done, right? Once we collect the data, process it. And what this helps out to Azam and his team is they don't need to go out to a site, right? So they pick up street, we have a like GIS data, and they say, okay, within this 20 street, there are 20 corners with no curb ramp. So we will need to put a curb ramp. That's X amount of dollars per curb ramp. Our curb and gutter is in poor condition. That's going to add cost to our paving cost, right? So we can start planning much ahead rather than waiting for the preliminary engineering to come in and we say, oh, we did not account for all the concrete work, all the paving work that in addition to the other work we'll be doing. And this is where automation is really good, right? Because automation is really good when it's very stationary. So a stop sign is always a stop sign. So, like you can really model that out and use images to bring everything into the system. So this is a typical example from one of our projects where we drove the street, our camera picked up, we ran our algorithms, and it said, hey, that's a traffic, there's a sign. What kind of sign it is, right? And then it goes through the code, MUTC decodification, and says, hey, this is what the sign is. This is what the sign actually says. So this is where we have gotten into, our programming, that it's able to say what's written, where the location is, what's the address is. So we can now build out a sign inventory program for the city on a long term saying like, hey, we have X amount of signs which are bad, and there can be a separate almost payment management program style to fix your signs throughout the city. This is for one of our projects which we did. So just wanted to kind of put it out there. So for about 239 miles in the city, we recorded about 16,000 traffic signs, 18,000 driveway aprons, light posts, curb ramps, pavement markings, sidewalk. But we are able to do now like cattle guards, water valves on the road, right? And this all kind of feeds into the program as we go in, and it becomes more robust. So you don't have to always put engineers out there to manually record all of this. And this is just different outputs that Azam and his team will get on a dashboard, so they can kind of go in and start looking at data in that case. On our schedule, so like I said, we have spent most of the last 6 to 8 months just kind of diving deep into the city's inventory, building that up. So that's kind of done. We are doing the data collection, so we have 1 vehicle out there. In the next month, you'll see about 2 vehicles driving around the city street, collecting all the data. Then we'll go back to the office, process all of the data, and we envision like around mid-June, we'll have the PCI data, where the city is at. From there, we'll start doing all the deeper analysis from like, what, different condition, what happens with X budget, Y budget, the term of the program, it's in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, right? Like amount of money spent, what the inflation is going to be. We can model everything into the program and kind of come up with a ballpark estimate of if the city did X, what will happen on the city street condition. One thing to think about as we start putting so much effort into road maintenance is we have to make sure when we do the programming, we'll make sure we account for all the other capital work that is going on. So we don't want to say, hey, let's do street X in 2 years, and we know on X plus 2, in 2 years after we are done, somebody's going to come in and do a water line replacement. And all that investment kind of goes away, right? So we'll take that into account. But we know that from experience, utility companies are going to come in and they're going to cut into a pavement. So this has been a question that has been asked of me and my team members a lot, like what do we do? So we have helped a lot of agencies figure out what happens when you cut into a pavement, right? Like there is, obviously your condition goes down, but what we had found is there is a structural damage to your road. There's a substantial structural damage, and then you can figure out what's the cost of the damage, right? And this is more to make sure like the utility contractors work with Azam and his group to say like, hey, what's your plan coming up? So we can figure out our utility work according to your plan. But if they don't, then the city, and we have a help agency like Anaheim, Davis, Pacifica, Ukiah, and all the other ones which are reviewing, City of Riverside, we just finished the project, where we are coming up with a fee structure where they say like, if you didn't coordinate with us, and if we paved a road, you came out, even after the moratorium is done, and you cut into the road, you have to pay an X amount of fee, because we have studied what is the impact on this street, this particular street, on the impacts of this cuts. So that's something for the council to think about on the long term that, streets are one of the most expensive item that the city owns, right? And to maintain them takes a lot of money. With the construction cost after COVID has been substantially higher. The inflation is rising. So we have to make sure this investment is protected. And it's going to deteriorate. That's just normal nature of pavement is. But we have to make sure it doesn't deteriorate because, people come in and cut into the pavement. And with that, I'm done. And any questions, anything, feel free.
Thank you so much for the presentation. A lot of information to digest. I do see Councilmember Ortiz, you'd like to have a comment? Any other council members?
Yeah, that is so cool. What I appreciate is the adaptation of technology and what makes things quicker, more efficient. And so I'm so thankful to you guys for what you're doing. I saw the truck outside, like that's awesome. And thank you to the team for working so hard. I just want to make sure, because I did have a question come through one of the community members. So as we're doing this, the streets that have already been announced and allocated for paving, those are still on schedule. Did you use this technology to assign those streets?
The previous one that we have assessed, no, we did not use that. We used an old pavement management assessment. And then also what we do is we combine it with the requests we get from different council members and the CRMs. So this process that Vivek talked about, what we're going to do is in June, we have a list of 50 locations I'm going to be submitting through the SB1 funding through the state. At least they can allocate the money for us in the amount of $5.7 million with a match of 1.2, and then we'll assess these 50 locations based on the report that's going to be provided by Vivek. Yeah.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, that was going to be my question, because since I came into office, almost every year we have assessment done on our streets, almost every year, nonstop. And I thank you, Hazam, for looking at the CRMs, because our constituents, and we are reporting those streets that are in very bad shape as is. We have those reports. Now, I see here there's a contract that we signed or was approved in 2014 last year for him, 2024, for this same services. And today you're just giving us a presentation. You're not looking to renew your contract? Because it's a hefty amount. It's over $800,000. For something that we've been doing almost every year, 2 years already previously.
This is a one-time report, part of the RFP process. It's not an ongoing assessment that you do every year. So this is a one-time. Vivek, is there any additional assessments after you're long gone that we need to pursue?
No, so that's up to a city to decide. So typically what happens is you maintain a PMP database every 3 to 5 years. So when we work with agencies, we come in, because the first time when you do this, it's a lot of back-end support. Like I said, like we have to figure out what streets we own, how we're going to do the survey, which street which should drive, which streets require 2 drives, right? We have to even go to that level of detail, because you see the vehicle out there, they need to know exactly what we are driving. Once the report is in, we'll come up with a 5-year plan, right? And depending on how the city council feels, how Azam's team feel, it varies between, like, we work a lot in Orange County, which requires agencies to do every 2 years. Like Metro, which is the county MPO in LA, requires agency to do every 3 years, because you want to update it to figure out the modeling is correct or not. So, once we are going to use a default model, right, from the streets that have been done in California, how they deteriorate, like how it falls every year, right? But then as you collect more data, you figure out how does street in San Bernardino deteriorating, right? Because it's different weather, different soil, everything goes in. So that's what happens in the long term with a PMP, is you want to keep on updating and kind of saying, like, we were planning to do this street, what happened? Why didn't we do it? What's the impact now? Right? So every 3 to 5 years, you keep on updating it to figure out. But it's much less substantially cheaper in the long run. Because,
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. We have a lot of deferred maintenance as is already. And I see this contract here, and I just want to make sure that that's already been taken care of. You've done what you were supposed to based on that contract and paid out already? You have not?
Not
We are
yet,
working
not
through
yet.
it.
So,
This is-
so our city
this-
has a contract
Let
for over
me just add a few things
800,000
here, Council, allow me. This is presentation on how we're going to move forward with the pavement management plan. So we're going to come back in August and present to you the overall comprehensive pavement management plan for the entire city for the 650 center line miles. This is just an overview on what you're going to see in the next few months, and the final report that will be presented to the city council.
Correct, and I think those are, like I said, we have done those PCI assessment reports previously. And I do appreciate that you're looking at those, because a lot of those streets are still not taken care of and are in really bad shape. If we can just focus on that, I'm pretty sure we can fix more streets rather than doing assessments over and over and over again for streets that we're not fixing. Because we don't have the funding. It's always like a budgeting issue with fixing our streets.
Yeah, Councilman Ibarra, we have a budget workshop scheduled in 2 weeks, and you'll see some substantial requests from staff to do more street work in the next fiscal year. So that's coming, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Charette?
Thank you, Mayor. So just to recap, in June or August is when the report, that's going to be comprehensive, and we've never really done this comprehensive we've done it in bits and pieces over years and over time, correct? But in August, when you present it back to us, it's going to be every single street in this town.
Vivek?
Yeah, so every street will have a
Does it
PCI
include
number.
alleys? Does it include alleyways?
We'll do that afterwards, after the streets are done. So our priority focus was to do the streets first, and then we'll do the alley network.
And will we, at some point in time, say, okay, if we won the lotto and could pave every street, that number is X. Will we have that number at some
Yes.
point in time, that it's $2 billion or $200 million or whatever, a total number, and even a length of time? In other words, if we really literally said, we want to start today, and we want to finish this thing in whatever a reasonable period of time is, we've got the money to pay for it, will we have that information available?
Throughout when we finish the assessment, we'll have a dollar value on how much it's going to take to pave every street in the city. And just keep in mind, the street pavement is going to be different from location to location. Some locations will require a local, like slurry.
Right,
and then
right,
some
but that's all going to be
yeah.
covered. In other words, the slurry will be in there, and that's one number, and the paving will be another number, and another category will be another number, but we'll have a bottom line number that says to do every street and alley at some point in time, I guess, in this city to get it really up to par is X number of dollars.
Correct.
Yes.
And
so-
can be done, and an estimate of time that it would take to do that if we said, start today and finish it. Don't stop until you're done.
So yeah, so our scope, like what we'll do is put a number on, right? So if, like what you said, we actually run a scenario where we say, okay, if we had unlimited money, like how much money do we need in this moment of time, right? So we do that analysis. But mostly it's such an unrealistic number, right?
Right, I understand
So we do that, but then we kind of move on, like I said, to say, like the city has X amount of budget. Like in that budget, what is the most efficient way to spend that money?
Right, so for example, doing it on thoroughfares or doing it on main drags or whatever,
Yeah.
or in a particular neighborhood or area, downtown area or whatever. And that'll be something that we'll collectively decide on through discussion. And I didn't understand your comment about a workshop.
Yeah,
How's that relate?
Yeah, Councilmember, we have a budget workshop for the next fiscal year. As we dial in our numbers for next fiscal year, we're going to be coming to you with an ask for additional segment and road reconstruction money for next fiscal year, which will tie into this report as well. So there's a combination of both.
So they'll blend together. We won't be
100%.
spending money and then having to do it again because it wasn't
100%.
part of the management plan.
That is correct.
I
Yes.
think.
Thank you, Council, for your questions and comments. Thank you, Azam and Vivek and staff. Oh my goodness, this is a huge, huge undertaking and a step forward for our city. So thank you so much for doing this and helping us make informed decisions. All right, that concludes our presentations. We will now move on to public hearing. We have two items under public hearing. Item number 4, proposed substantial amendment to fiscal year 2021, 2022, and 2024, 2025 annual action plans to fund affordable housing and public facilities projects, and proposed substantial amendment to update the community development block grant citizen participation plan. I'm opening the public hearing at 6:00 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation on this item?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This one is a mouthful, so I'm going to summarize the recommendations. So tonight, we recommend the Mayor and City Council conduct a public hearing to gather public input on proposed substantial amendment to the city's annual action plan. These amendments include allocating home funds from fiscal year 2020 to 2024 to increase funding for Arrowhead Grove Phase 4 from $385,870 to $4.9 million, allocating remaining home funds to Jamboree Housing Corporation, increasing their funding from $124,000 to $187 to $2 million for an affordable housing development, amending the fiscal year 24-25 action plan to identify and describe 4 public works projects receiving CDBG funding. Lastly, the staff updated the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Participation Plan. Each year, the city receives CDBG and home funds from HUD to support housing and infrastructure development for low-income and moderate residents. As part of the process, we prepare an annual action plan that aligns the city's 5-year consolidated plan. Public outreach and community input are required and guided by the Citizen Participation Plan to ensure transparency. So this amendment is doing 2 things. It's identifying specific CDBG funded projects that on May 5th, 2024, the Mayor and City Council recommended allocating to the Encanto, Gutierrez, and Ruben Campos Community Center. In response, the housing staff returned on May 15th with funding allocated to the recommended sites. However, due to the annual action plan's submittal requirements, we were unable to provide the level of detail needed when we submitted that plan. Additionally, we're utilizing this opportunity to allocate funding to the Hillside infill single-family housing projects that will provide critical infrastructure improvements, which was approved by the Mayor and City Council on August 8th, 2024. Additionally, The second item that it's doing is reallocating the unspent home funds from 2021 through 2024, increasing home funds for the Arrowhead Grove Phase 4 and Jamboree Housing Corporation affordable housing developments. So this chart demonstrates the approximate 1.3 million in CDBG funds allocated to the city in fiscal year 24-25. The amendment includes funding allocations to the 3 community facility projects I named, focused on completing field and park renovations. Additionally, it supports the hillside infill housing projects by developing infrastructure improvements for the 3 single-family homes serving low-income residents. These improvements are expected to benefit approximately 6,000 community members, and the staff will return in June with recommendations for the remaining 409,000 that still has not been recognized in the plan. So home funds specifically need to be utilized to support affordable housing for low-income and individuals and families. Another key requirement is that it has a 24-month time frame to expend the funds or commit them. Due to COVID, there was a temporary suspension, which is due to expire December of this year. So here I try to outline all from year to year, all the projects. We went year by year, evaluated each project's financial viability. In 2021, the Seacom Park is still in progress, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done with relocating the park, so they're not really at a point to where we could allocate funds to those projects. The Home Key Motel conversion, it appears that they never applied for the Home Key, nor did we receive Home Key funds for that project. In 2021, the Eastville Housing for Home Ownership, the developer was unable to secure additional funding and demonstrate the project's financial viability. U.S. Vets, that project is still, it's not on hold, but it's still working to cobble together all the financing required to develop the project. We decided we will look at our permanent local housing allocation or maybe our low mod money once they're a little bit closer to securing all the funding, and we'll return back to council for that funding commitment. In 2022-23, that's when Ms. Cersei and myself actually started with the department. We took the time to utilize that time, and we put the projects on hold and used placeholders for the years until we could go back and evaluate all the housing development projects that were in the pipeline. And then in 2024, again, we reestablished the owner-occupied rehabilitation program, which is off to a flying success. It actually shut down the phone lines for neighborhood partnership housing services. And then after the thorough reconciliation of the past 5 years, the city is now positioned to strategically deploy the previously unspent funds to Arrowhead and Jamboree, advancing the city's commitments to addressing the city's needs for quality, affordable housing in our community. And then at the time, I can only surmise the amounts that were allocated were maybe based on the amount of funds that they had available at the time. As part of our substantial amendment process, we engage in community outreach and provide opportunities for the public to provide their comments. The plan was last updated in 2019. So this is also an effort to ensure our compliance with HUD regulations, and it also aligns with the city's strategic goal to promote affordable housing, improve public infrastructure, and enhance social services for vulnerable populations. By updating the citizen participation plan, we guarantee that the public plays a meaningful role in the use of the CDBG and home funds. These elements collectively ensure transparency, inclusivity, and accountability in the city's community development initiatives. In conclusion, the proposed amendments ensure the unspent federal funds are strategically redirected to priority community needs, supporting affordable housing, enhancing public infrastructure, and revitalizing key community facilities. These actions reflect our continued commitment to improving the quality of life of the San Bernardino residents, particularly our low-income and moderate-income families. We respectfully request the council support in moving these initiatives forward. And now, open for questions.
Thank you. Do we have any requests from the public, members of the public, to speak on this item?
Yes, we have one request to speak from Christian Shaughnessy.
Thank you.
Annie, this is your item too.
All right, good evening, council, community members, mayor pro tem. This is an item that has to do with affordable housing, so it's not exactly a mystery how I'm going to advocate in favor of it. But I would behoove council to go and vote in favor of pushing it. Anything we can do to increase the affordable housing stock, and even anything we can do to increase market rate housing, really anything we can do, is something that we really appreciate out here in the community. It's incredibly expensive. People of my generation after me, as I've said time before, as I will keep on saying, have very little hope of acquiring the American dream and of acquiring sustainable home ownership. So anything we can do to really chip at the problem would be an amazing thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? There's one more comment. Madam City Clerk, did you receive her public comment? Okay, great. If you could approach the City Clerk to fill out the slip, please. Thank you.
My name is Annie. I'm with Partners Against Violence. The original, I was coming to speak under public comment regarding our open house and the council members and mayor attending the other day. But we were looking into CDBGs for our agency. So I don't have a CDBG presentation. I just have a thank you for coming regarding our nonprofit agency. Just saying good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Annie. I'm a community outreach specialist for Partners Against Violence. We are a nonprofit agency dedicated to supporting survivors of sexual assault in San Bernardino County. I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude to the Mayor, Councilmember Sanchez, Councilmember Ortiz, for attending our open house last Thursday. Your presence not only showed your support for our mission, but also helps raise awareness for our mission, raise awareness for our critical services that we provide for our community. For those who may not be familiar, Partners Against Violence is a rape crisis center located in downtown San Bernardino. According to Penal Code 679.04, victims of sexual assault have the right to have an advocate present during any evidentiary, medical, physical exam, or an interview by law enforcement. Our agency is committed to ensuring that survivors have access to the support they need during these challenging times. We offer a 24-hour hotline, individual counseling, support groups, accompaniment services for evidentiary exams, restraining orders, law enforcement interviews, and court proceedings. All of our services are free of charge. We understand that everyone responds to trauma differently, and there is no set time frame for healing. Our goal is to help survivors navigate their feelings and experiences, providing a compassionate presence when they often feel alone. I would like to share some statistics to illustrate the impact of our work in San Bernardino. In 2024, our agency has served a total of 3,083 clients, with a total of 1,207 of those being from our San Bernardino office. These survivors have expressed their gratitude for the support we provide, acknowledging that they could not have made it through this difficult time without our dedicated team. We are honored to stand by the side of the survivors and assist them in the journey towards healing. Thank you again for your support last week for attending. Being that we've been here since 1975, and we have had a few CDBG grants with you guys, but we are not currently receiving any. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers for this item?
There's no more speakers.
Okay, thank you. I'm now closing the public hearing at 6:13 PM for deliberation and action, and I do see Councilmember Ortiz, followed by Councilmember Ibarra, followed by Councilmember Sanchez.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. The $4.9 million commitment to the Arrowview Grove phase, what does that guarantee us? Does that give us anything?
Technically, we're not committing it yet. We're just putting it into the action plan so that in June, I'll be coming back with the formal commitment to the project. But yes, part of that agreement will be a set number of units that are dedicated to low-income families. It'll be the regulatory agreement, the promissory note. It will come back in June for that.
Okay. And then you said certain things didn't qualify because you guys weren't able to submit the details. You needed, what did that involve and why?
So it will specifically want the location, the scope of work. I wrote it all down. And at that time, we need to make sure that all the activities are CDBG eligible. So we went out with Public Works, we evaluated each location, but there just was not enough time because you do have to submit the annual action plan by August. So we received the approval in May. You do all the steps to upload it to HUD, and then we came back, and that's what we're doing now. We're setting the timelines, the scope of work. We're doing the environmental process. There's quite a few due diligence steps that you have to take.
Okay. And then last, so, and I know this, not that I don't support this, but I'm just asking. So the $4.9 million was committed, quote unquote, in October of last year or August by the previous council. It still hasn't been solidified. So if the council were to change their mind and want to fund something else with the funds, are we still free to do that, or is these funds pretty much already committed?
It was a conditional funding commitment, was based on after we do all of the evaluation, we determine the financial viability, we do a subsidy layering analysis to determine that we're not over-subsidizing the project, but there is still that option when I come back in June. You could decide not to fund with the home funds.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, question for staff. When you selected these two housing projects, did they go through a process to be selected by us to be included in the action plan to get increased funding from us? And are they also doing match funding from other sources, or are they just relying on our city to fund the programs that they're building?
Yes, so they do apply for the home funds. Specifically for Arrowhead, they are a community housing development organization. So they already have the requirement to fund. We have the requirement to fund those organizations. The project, I don't want to misquote, is significantly higher than our investment. We are a very small portion, so we're leveraging our small portion to accomplish, again, I don't want to misquote the number of units that we're providing.
That we're being committed to?
Yes.
Okay, because I would like to know, like I personally don't know much about the Jamboree project, for example. I do know that the infill housing projects that we've had have been great throughout our city because they're encouraging homeowners. They're helping keep home buying at a low cost too. And I think we had also money, and maybe Cassandra can correct me, but on some down payment assistance for people from the home funds. So I want to make sure that we're not putting all our funding into just two programs when we can be sharing the wealth with other items that are helping us revive our city. So I don't know if Cassandra wants to correct me on that. Did we ever, I thought we had like an incentive to become a home buyer where you get $100,000 down payment assistance back then. I don't know what happened to it.
So when we receive our new allocation of home funds, we are going to revisit the down payment assistance program. And then I just want to be mindful that there is a timeliness regarding home funds. The city for quite some time has had inactivity regarding housing and development. You're aware that there's potential cuts coming down from HUD. We have projects right now that are ready to move forward. We have funds that have been sitting for an extensive period of time, and so it would be a wise investment to move forward to bring that affordable housing to the community to avoid any clawbacks, potential clawbacks for funding, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I just want to make sure that this will actually benefit our residents from our city. I'd like to see them get into affordable housing too. And so, I mean, that's where I stand. And, you know, the infill housing, I love those projects because it was vacant plots throughout the whole city that houses were being put into and families that were first-time home buyers getting into it, and it was affordable for them. I'm a homeowner myself, and it's nothing that's better than to know that you have your own home. You're not beholden to a landlord increasing your rent every year, however much they want to do it, whether it's $100 a month, that goes a long way for a lot of our residents.
I just want to add, the city is getting a good bang for its buck. For the Jamboree project, we're looking at 101 units. For the Housing Authority, Arrowhead Grove, I believe it's 96 units or 92 units.
I want to
It's
say
either 92 or 96.
Just want to misquote.
Neither one of us have our notes today, but we're getting a big bang for our buck.
Okay. For our residents, for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, I could not attest more to the success of these programs. Arrowhead Grove, this is the fourth phase. There was a phase 1, a phase 2, a phase 3. Most people, when they see these developments that provide a much-needed service to our low-income residents, our low-income families, are amazed at the high standard of development in that part of town. So I could not support it more. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but in phase 1, 2, and 3, in each one of those phases, the city's contribution, I think, was less than 20% of the total cost of those projects. So we are definitely getting bang for our buck. We are getting these huge projects. This is exactly what a public-private partnership is. We are leveraging our public funds, specifically handed down through the state agency, to get these huge projects done that there is no way we could do by ourselves, that the city could fund 100%. So this is excellent. So before I move to approve, I do want to add something. We did have a public speaker come up here and talk about the role that Partners Against Violence plays and has played since 1975. I had the opportunity to go to their open house last week, and I was very impressed with the services that they provide, with the limited resources they have for the most vulnerable amongst us during their most vulnerable time. And I was shocked that though they have an office here in San Bernardino, they have about 4 or 5 other cities that provide CDBG funding for their programs, but we are not one of them. Yet their office is here in downtown San Bernardino. So I want to fix that today. I know that this is going to have to come back for another hearing, but I would like to allocate, when is it, by the way, I'll ask you. You guys are coming back for another substantial amendment hearing on this. You mentioned, right? Isn't there, not a substantial amendment, there's another hearing on the CDBG funding coming later this year? Did you mention that?
So the 25-26 allocation will be coming back. Off the top of my head, I don't know if they applied for CDBG funding.
No, I'm talking just about specifically the CDBG funding, the public hearing for the next cycle's funding. When would that be? Right now, we haven't received our allocation, so we are still trying to wait, but that should come back in June it's going to be for 25-26. Yes, exactly. So 25-26, but when would that hearing be?
It's going to be probably in June, but the application period was open in December. So if you did not apply in that time frame,
for CDBG funding.
For CDBG funding.
We can still, as a council, make the decision to put in a line item for that funding source, just like.
No, they do have to apply for the funding to be eligible.
So just, So in order to get the CDBG funding, the organization would have had to have put in that application in December, what'd you say?
I don't recall the release dates, but it was December, so it was open for 30 days. We did extend for another, I think, 2 weeks, but I can look into if they applied, and then I can provide the city manager with a update to provide you.
So if we can't, because I would like a stopgap, I would encourage them to apply next year for the funding, but the city can make, I think, we have our regular general fund budget. I would like, along with approving the CDBG funding, I would like also to direct staff to bring back a line item funding a budget amendment from our general fund to fund this program in an amount of $25,000, and that will serve as a stopgap until the next cycle's CDBG funding. So first, this was several steps to this. First would be moving to approve staff recommendation on the substantial amendments on the CDBG funding, and the second would be a budget line item to have staff within the next, I would say 30 days, I'll say 30 days, to come back to bring an item back to council for a $25,000 funding, I'll call it a stopgap, for Partners Against Violence. I guess they didn't apply this year, but the work they do is in jeopardy with all the clawbacks that are happening at the federal and state level, and I want to make sure that they continue to serve the most vulnerable in our community.
Thank you, Council. And
So that's my motion.
thank you. And I think anything that's outside the CBG that we're approving could be discussed in the budget workshop that's coming up in a few weeks. Mr. City Manager, would that be accurate? And that,
Yes, so at the budget workshop, we'll have that conversation, and then we'll roll it into the budget. We don't need to bring a separate action.
thank you. Councilmember Ortiz?
Yeah, and I think, I feel Council Members Sanchez is hard on this. However, I personally, in hearing this, want to be very careful, because it's a wonderful program. It's a necessary program. It absolutely should be a funded program. So are very many other non-funded programs that are not getting the same equal consideration. And what I don't want is for anybody to be able to come and say, well, if I could have given you a 3-minute public comment, you would have given me $25,000. And so if we are going to do something where we could, which I think, because we do have funding, we have some funding available, that if we bring something back where we want to create line items, then we do create an application process. For anybody because if we can extend the CDBG outside of CDBG, then maybe we create an application process for other nonprofits who are doing amazing work like you're doing, and we give equal, fair, legal consideration so that everybody is seen for the amazing work that they give to this community. And to Teddy's, Councilman Sanchez's point, a lot of it, with the clawbacks, with the rollbacks, it is scary. It's a very scary time financially. And so I want to make sure if we do give money, nobody can come after us or try to take that funding from them because they felt that we somehow discriminated them in some other way. So I'd love to have a process, so I would make a substitute motion to approve this motion as is, but then ask that you bring back with Councilman Sanchez's thoughts, an application for us with the line item for the next fiscal year, if you guys would want to do something like that.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
And just one more last comment. I keep saying this at these meetings. We need to be talking to developers, because we've had projects approved before us here, and they say they're affordable housing. And when I ask them, how much are your units? And they say $500,000. I said, that is not affordable in our city. People will not be able to, in our city, will not be able to live there. So we need to be able to also reach out to developers that are willing to offer really affordable housing to people who really need it in our city. I don't know what their threshold is, how much they're going to rent those units for, but we're going to have to, it seems like the city's going to have to police it to make sure that they are abiding by the agreement, because we're helping them fund and give affordable housing. We want to make sure that they are going to offer it to our community. So, I mean, I'm just a little bit concerned because like I said, we've had developers come before us and their projects are not affordable in our city.
So Arrowhead specifically is partnered with the County of San Bernardino Housing Authority and National Core Affordable Housing Developer.
But I don't know Jamboree. I don't know. what their track
Jamboree,
record.
we're still in the very initial phases of Jamboree, but once we do come back, which it is going to take time for them to secure all the financing necessary, as Councilmember Sanchez stated, these are expensive projects, and we're putting in less than 20%, but we still need to do our due diligence and make sure that the projects are financially viable. We're making sure that the units that we are paying for are generally 80% AMI, area median income, for specifically low-income residents. And the affordability period will be a minimum of 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jamboree came before the council back in March of this year to approve. So this is something that has come to council, vetted, and an incredible, great organization that's doing great work in our city and other regions too in the city. Is that correct?
Yes, and we did give a brief synopsis of not only their qualifications, but past projects. And we're just in the exclusive negotiating agreement period right now. It takes quite a bit of time to, like I said, secure all these funding sources. If they go after tax credits, to submit these applications, it's an extensive amount of work.
Thank you. It's a very thorough process, vetted, so it's not like this is the first time it's coming forward to the council. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilmember Canas?
First, I just want to say thank you to staff for the presentation and for your work. Cassandra, every time you get up and speak, you give such great perspective, so I just want to say thank you. I always say this, you can't talk about homelessness without talking about preventing homelessness. Affordable housing is so necessary. So thank you. I would like to go ahead. Thank you. And I just also want to attest to specifically the Arrowhead Grove. I've personally been able to take a tour of the first few phases. It's a wonderful project. It's an asset for our community. It's a blessing that we're able to expand and do a fourth phase. So with that, I would like to go ahead and second the motion. The Treasurer's motion, taking into consideration Councilmember Sanchez's additions to go ahead and go to staff to have a transparent and fair process to add that application process.
Thank you. So there's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk? Oh, council members.
Just clarification on the motion, please.
Madam City Clerk, can you repeat the motion and that the council will be voting on?
Is this the substitute motion?
Yes, it is.
So the motion was to approve staff's recommendation, along with adding Councilmember Sanchez's request to direct staff to bring back a line item and create a process, an application process for other agencies to apply.
Council, are you guys good? Okay, all right, please call for the votes. Actually, you could vote on the screen, council, please, thank you.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, conduct a public hearing and introduce for first reading on an ordinance amending Chapter 10.52 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code to update the existing speed zone citywide. I'm opening the public hearing at 6:32 p.m. Could city staff provide presentation on this item?
Again, good evening, Mayor, City Council. Just want to dive into what's an engineering traffic survey. Basically, an engineering traffic survey is a study conducted to determine the appropriate speed limits for roadways in the state of California throughout the country. Without a current survey, speed limits enforced by radar may not hold in court. courts may dismiss speeding tickets if there is no up-to-date engineering study on file. It helps avoid speed traps and ensure that speed zones are realistic and consistent with driver expectations. It uses the 85 percentile speed, the speed at or below which 85% of drivers travel under normal conditions, as a benchmark for setting safe speed and reasonable limits. So when you have a speed limit sign on any location throughout the city, you should abide by the law and drive based on that speed. If you drive higher than that speed, then you're in violation and you're subject to getting a speeding ticket. The adoption of an engineering and traffic survey is an important step in ensuring that speed limits on the city roadways are set in compliance with state regulations, promote public safety, and reflect current traffic conditions. The surveys are prepared under direction of the CVC section, and the CVC also required that the surveys be conducted based on methodology required by the California Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, Revision 8, dated January 2024. A survey conducted more than 7 years ago may be extended to 14 years. Previously it was 10 if the traffic engineer certify that no changes in the roadway traffic conditions have occurred. What is Assembly Bill 43? This was added to the CVC as a guideline for agencies throughout the state of California to additionally lower the speed limit by designating a safety corridor. Also, retain currently adopted or restore immediately prior speed limits new from AB 43. The city may retain the currently adopted speed limits without further reduction or restore the immediately prior adopted speed limits without further reduction as provided in the CVC section 22358. What is the result of this speed survey that we've been conducting in the last year or so? And the result of it is outstanding results that provided direction to the public works in making sure that our streets are safe to drive on. So 48 street segments will retain their current speeds and qualify for a 14-year extension. 90 street segments have recommended changes to the posted speed limit. 19 street segments will maintain their existing speed limits. 114 street segments have been designated as safety corridor, with 71 street segments resulting in additional reduced speed limits. And this is the latest recommended speed map of the entire city that will be we're going to be posting on the city website soon. And the conclusion is basically amending Chapter 1052 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code, and then schedule adoption of the ordinance at the final reading on May 21st, 2025. I'm available for any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Let's see. Councilmember Ortiz, followed by Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm sorry, we have public comment for this one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Okay, I'm now closing comments from public hearing. Public comments. One?
Yes,
Speaker,
from
thank
Mike
you.
Hartley.
Thank you.
Mike Hartley. I am all for making this city safer, but by changing a speed limit sign will not make it safer. Nobody follows the speed as it is right now. We have 6 motorcycle cops who are to cover 65 square miles of this city. And it's just not happening. I have a better chance of getting hit by somebody running a red light doing 100 miles an hour than I do of any crime this city is terrible at the speed limit. I live on a street that's 25 miles an hour. The lowest speed I've seen is 55 because they're trying to beat the traffic on Waterman. The 2 stop signs I have on my street are non-existent. They just fly right through it. So by putting up a speed limit sign lower than it was before, it's going to do no good. We have to have enforcement before we waste money getting new signs and spending the labor of putting them up. I would say get the police officers who can enforce traffic laws first, then if you want to change out the signs, do it. Now, when I was a young man and I had a '69 Roadrunner, I swore they had a police officer stationed a block from me, so when I pulled out of the driveway, they would write me up. I don't see any police officers anymore pulling somebody over for a traffic violation. Never. I'm not criticizing the chief because I think the chief is the best chief we've had. But when I'm trying to get off on 5th Street off the 215 and I got a tractor trailer causing gridlock and I can't get through, I say to myself, if I would have been driving that truck, I would have got a ticket. But there is no motorcycle cops around. And you want to talk about road rage? Those are the kinds of things that cause road rage. So please, look into the enforcement first before you spend the money on changing a sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the speakers.
Thank you. I'm now closing the public hearing at 6:40 PM for deliberation and action. I do have Councilmember Ortiz, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Figueroa, to have comments, followed by Sanchez.
So thank you. I think, Mr. Hartley, you're making great points. But I believe 2 things can be true at once. And things need to happen simultaneously. Because, and if you guys haven't, and I know it wasn't in the presentation, but if you go through the resolution, the amount of streets that are being changed, these safety corridors, which will help with the enforcement. Do we need more traffic cops? Yes, absolutely. And I'll give you an example on my street. My street is a 40-mile-an-hour street. It's a residential street. We have kids that play in the green belt. We have elderly, people walk their dogs. One side doesn't have sidewalks, but it's 40 miles an hour, which means, to Mike's point, it's 60 miles an hour. Our stop signs are a quarter mile apart, so what do people do? They race to see how far they can go in a quarter mile in a Tesla. It's amazing. So, with that being said, I appreciate now that my street will be 30 miles per hour, and I think it should be 25. But all of these things, these school zones, we have children that go down Waterman to go to school. We have Golden Valley High School, we have Parkdale Elementary. So it's important to stay up on where we are in the traffic engineering portion of this, and not only that, to be able to leverage ourselves in the adjustability, as it says in here, time changes, population changes, use changes. 25 years ago, we didn't, or even 10 years ago, we didn't have these big trucks running like we used to. We didn't have 223,000 people. And you didn't have, to Mike's other point that we talk about, 13 people living in one house and 13 new cars coming down the street every single day. And so all of these, with the inclusion of stop signs, with the inclusion of possible speed bumps, I think, and more traffic cops, and we can have hopefully Mr. Guy or the chief here at some point to talk about traffic safety in the city would be great. We can collectively kick butt on all of this in the city. And so one thing I did want to ask you about is, where does this fall in conjunction with school zones and the safety corridors around, like, street crossings and sidewalks? Sidewalk crossings, I'm sorry.
So the safety corridor that was implemented part of this plan is one of the requirements have to be on a school thoroughfare. So that's one of the criteria that met under the safety corridor function. The second thing is, in the next couple of months, I'm going to bring to the City Council an evaluation of 122 uncontrolled crosswalks, including the ones adjacent to schools, in studying these crosswalks and make sure they're safe, remove if they're not, if they're not warranted, remove them, or upgrade them to flashing beacons, or maybe a hawk signal, just like the one we installed at 5th and Pedley in conjunction with a project that we have with the county. That report will be coming your way in the next couple of months
That's
for
very
approval.
cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't going to discuss this, but since you, Councilmember, you brought up the schools, I would say not only the streets that are adjacent to the schools, but the identified pathways that children might take in order to get to some of those schools. So it might not necessarily run parallel to the school, but perpendicular too, so that if there's an identified pathway that the children might be able to take in order to get to that school, I'm not sure if that's something that's allowable or something we can consider under AB 43, since it does allow more flexibility for to prioritize road safety for cities. I'm not sure if that's something that we can consider as well, but I would certainly support it if it is something that we can do to identify not only the streets that are, the peripheral of the, or I'm sorry, not just around the city, or, I'm sorry, not around the school, but pathways that lead to the school that children might take in order to get to the school. So I would consider those streets as well. I'm not sure if that's allowed under AB 43 or not, or
Under AB 43, basically, we are allowed only to 20% of the entire network of the city streets in the entire city. We cannot exceed the 20% part of the entire segment. So the streets were evaluated, met those requirements, and we cannot exceed that percentage, number one. Okay. Number two, the program you're talking about should fall under what we call Safe Route to School. And that can be addressed through that program. And we have established plans throughout the city and with the county and through the ATP. I have to check to see if it was included part of the active transportation plan that we implemented. You guys approved, the council approved a couple of years ago. It was taking that into account. But the program and the area you're talking about is within half a mile of a school. We should have safe crossings, and that should be under the Safe Route to School. What we can do is wait until the next opportunity to apply for a grant throughout so we can get a grant, analyze all the schools that we have the city to look into what we call Safe Route to School along major arterials, local collectors, and so forth.
And thank you for that information, because I know that, not only us up here, not only do we appreciate that, but I'm positive the public really appreciates hearing this information as well, because that is a very big, important issue in the city as well. I spoke on AB 43 and allowing more flexibility to cities as far as prioritizing safety, road safety. Does it allow for us to change maybe or add criteria or elements to the survey? So for example, it identifies roadway characteristics as part of one of the elements to determine the speed limit in that area, in addition to the speed and accident history. Or do we have any flexibility in adding additional criteria to the roadway characteristics? For example, and I know we've had this conversation previously as well, I'll identify a Waterman Avenue south of the 10. There's a bridge that goes over the train tracks, and the speed limit is what it is there. But what I would like to know, if included in the roadway characteristics for the survey, does it allow for blind spots so that when you're going over the bridge, there's immediately following the curvature, there's a stoplight. And so what you don't see is the amount of traffic that's backing up that you're approaching. And so does that count as part of the roadway characteristics that can be included in the survey? Is that included now? Is it not? Is that something that we could add at a later time?
Unfortunately, it's not. Let me just go over the criteria on how we identify these roadway characteristics. Basically, it would look at lane width, shoulder, side distance, roadway classification based on the 2005 general plan. Every street in the city is classified as local, major, or secondary arterial. Also would look at land use, and that's where the school comes into play. The land use, the schools are included, and then parks, businesses, and residential neighborhoods. And then, of course, the crash history, that's part of the AB 43, and then the pedestrian and bicycle facilities that we have in the city. Now, the way they do this study is that in order to get a logical speed survey, it's uninterrupted length of roadway segments. That means it has to be no stop signs, minimum amount of traffic signals, because you need the traffic to achieve the speed at the 85 percentile in order for us to come up with a conclusion what should be the posted speed. Now, there is a couple of options that was included in this survey, basically, is we can, if this 85 percentile, give you an example, is 37 miles per hour, we can reduce it to 35 miles per hour. And if the location is classified as a safety corridor, we can bring it down. City traffic engineer, city engineer can bring it down to 30 miles per hour.
It's very well explained. You do such a great job. Thank you for explaining that and making it in a way that it's understandable. At least I hope that it was understandable. I understood it. Okay. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for explaining that thoroughly. Thank you, sir.
Move to approve?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Excellent questions and suggestions, and thank you, Azam. And you mentioned the safe route to school. Also, you mentioned collaborating with the county, also the school district as well, all of our partners to make sure that we're really effective in looking at that assessment. Thank you. Thank you for motion and second. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, I was going to move to approve.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Ortiz, seconded by Councilmember Canas. Any further comments? Oh, Councilmember Ibarra.
I just want to tell Hazam, thank you for your report, because it's a lot of our constituents have been waiting for this to update our speed limits. I can tell you, and I can testify what Mr. Hartley mentioned, people were not going to obey speed limits that we're posting. We know that. I have that problem on Crestview, for example. When that street got repaved, people didn't even care about the stop sign that was next to the school. They just ran right through it. I saw it happen. I know on my end, there was a trouble curve, and nothing was keeping traffic from slowing down when they were making a turn. But what helped is those elevated speed bumps on Gilbert and Paris Hill Road, for example. That has helped diminish a lot of the accidents that were happening on that curve. And it's something that maybe we can, if it's legal to get speed bumps, also look into installing them throughout the city. I don't know if that's something that's doable. Maybe when we do the budget workshop, we can look into that funding and maybe install that, because I have a lot of streets that run north-south in my district, and people just speed on through those streets. I'm concerned about paving those because they're going to go fast just like they do in Crestview. So, but thank you for doing this, because we have been waiting to update these speed limits throughout the whole city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up comment regarding speed humps. Unfortunately, the city does not have a speed hump policy. If the city council is interested in pursuing that, we can bring a future agenda item. But the problem you have is with emergency response, fire, and PD. So the only ones that we can install is the one that you see on Gilbert, is the rumbled, white rumble strips. That's what we can install now. But speed humps, I don't have a current policy. We get a lot of CRMs. Why can't you install speed humps to reduce traffic? I don't have a policy unless the council is interested in future agenda
No, those
item.
strips are amazing, though, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
They really helped in that corner.
And I installed them on 28th Street at Stoddard, which is east of Waterman. And if the city council is interested in pursuing that in the future, let us know, and we can bring a future agenda item with the city manager.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can I amend, if you would be my second? Yeah, to bring back a start or draft of a policy to consider speed bumps, as well as with this?
And if I could add, it's part of a discussion that I think is necessary, and I know Azam, we've had in public safety. I think that's very crucial, and I would like to go ahead and second that.
Thank you. There is, thank you, Azam. There is a motion to waive, and a second to waive further reading and introduce by title only ordinance number MC 1651, and with the suggestion of the direction of, for the speed bumps to the staff. Council, please utilize the digital voting.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please read the title of the ordinance into the record.
Ordinance number MC 1651 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending Chapter 10.52 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code to update existing speed zones citywide.
Thank you. We will now move on to city manager updates, followed by public comments.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the community. I'm pleased to give you the updates this evening. First off, I want to congratulate our San Bernardino Police Department, victorious in the Baker to Vegas run. This past weekend, our 20-person team from our police department completed the 120-mile race from the town of Baker to Las Vegas, and we placed first in the 500 invitational division. Congratulations to them, and 12th overall out of 244 teams. That is fantastic. Next item is the Economic Development Department has rebranded its business attraction program with the theme Invest San Bernardino. This contemporary look is now being used in business recruitment materials, targeting developers, site selection, employers, and current business owners. Next item, we have something to share with the community, which is an interactive street project site update. We launched it out of our Public Works Department. And on our website, residents can check the status of street improvement projects across the city. It includes timelines, location status, and a street view of the project. And as I indicated, it can be found on our Public Works website in the Capital Improvement Project section. I want to thank Principal Civil Engineer Eddie Mendez for leading this effort for the community. Next up is the comment period opens for our new fire maps. New fire hazard severity zone maps have been released, and the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District is asking residents to provide feedback. The city of San Bernardino was one of the few cities in the Inland Empire to have fewer acres of high-risk fire property in the 2025 release compared to 2011. And you can check your property's rating along with the comment form can be found on the city's website. We have some business and community celebrations. Our local nonprofit Lighthouse for the Blind is celebrated a grand opening of their new facility on Park Center Circle. Indian Springs High School celebrated the opening of the Michael J. Gallo Innovation Lab. A mural by local artist Christian Mariscal depicting Cesar Chavez was unveiled at Ladle Creek Park, and it is beautiful. Partners Against Violence, who provided valuable services to survivors of sexual assault and violence, held an open house. And our Inland Empire 66ers celebrated the start of the new season at opening day with a 10-3 win at San Manuel Stadium. In other city news, congratulations to City Arborist Matt McDonald. For the second year in a row, the city has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation for its ongoing efforts to maintain and nurture its urban forest. Ball field upgrades at Spiker Park are currently underway. The park will be receiving upgrades and renovations to all 5 baseball fields, including new sod, lighting, new fencing, renovation of concession stands, and restrooms. Funding for the project came from the city, County Board of Supervisors, and the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians. Love Your Block Shark Tank Style this Saturday at Studio D from 4 to 6 p.m. San Bernardino neighborhood groups, community organizations, nonprofit, and others will be pitching judges in hopes of winning $18,000 in grant awards to create neighborhoods of their dreams. 43 local groups submitted proposals as part of the city's Love Your Block program, and the finalists will make live pitches to the judges similar to the television show Shark Tank. The public is encouraged to attend and learn about grassroots projects in our city. And finally, extravaganza this Saturday at Ladle Creek Park. The 4th annual extravaganza will take place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 19th at Ladle Creek Park. There'll be egg hunts for the kids between 1 and 12 years old, featuring 30,000 eggs, as well as games, crafts, and photos with the bunny. Please check the Parks and Recreation website for age-specific egg hunt times. Kudos to staff and volunteers who've been busy stuffing the eggs with goodies all week. Mayor, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We got an inquiry for the Spiker Park. Does that include a new playground as well?
New playground? Spiker?
Spiker Park, does that include a new playground as well, or? Just a ball field? Just a ball field?
Not yet.
Okay. Yes.
Real quick, City Manager, I just thank you for all of that. I wanted to give one more update. I wanted to make sure that we wished our mayor a very happy birthday as she came in. And so I just want to say thank you for all that you do, and so appreciative for you, and so happy birthday.
Thank you for recognizing me being born today. Thank you. All right. Now moving on to public comment. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, for the update. Moving on to public comments. Thank you so much for your patience. We're here. At this time, public comments will be heard for items on the open session and items not on the agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person should state their name for the record. Once again, if you require Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time if you do need an interpreter assistant. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back.
Good evening, buenas noches. En este momento se escucharemos los comentarios públicos para los artículos de la agenda y los artículos que no están en las agendas. Para dirigirnos al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la secretaria municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la secretaria municipal podrán dirigir el Consejo Municipal. No se aceptan tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español.
Thank you, gracias. We have 45 speakers tonight, and to allow adequate time for City Council to address today's official business on agenda this evening, each speaker will be limited to a minute and a half this evening. Madam City Clerk, please call the speakers.
Jocelyn Martinez, Al Palazzo, Mike Hartley, Christian Shaughnessy, Georgia L., Kim Calvin, Eric Marquez, Luis Ojeda, Ivan Garcia, Jose Cortez, Essie Camacho, Joe Salas, and Jim Smith.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Jocelyn Martinez. Hello, council members. My name is Jocelyn Martinez, and I'm here with my peers Vanessa Jimenez, Lydia Albarran, and Noemi Romero. We are junior social work students at California State University, San Bernardino. We're asking for your support on a community advocacy project for our social welfare policy course. Our focus is on homelessness and substance abuse in San Bernardino, issues that came up repeatedly in a recent community needs assessment we conducted last month. As future social work students, our mission is to uplift underserved communities. We chose this issue because many unhoused individuals feel unsupported despite available resources, facing more mental health challenges that prevent them from confidently seeking help. Often, substance abuse and homelessness are deeply connected, forming a difficult cycle to break. Addiction is a disease, and recovery is not as simple as just quitting. Withdrawals and relapse are real challenges. While we're still students, we've created an action plan. We are collaborating with Mary's Mercy Center to host a small event and presentation for unhoused individuals and those struggling with addiction. We'll provide free personal care items, and thanks to behavioral health education consultant Alexander Cordova, offer Narcan training and free naloxone. Operation New Hope has also shown support for our efforts. We'll be at Arbor and Earth Day event at Wildwood Park on April 26th with Operation New Hope to share flyers and more personal care items promoting our event. Additionally, we aim to serve vital mental health resources both verbally and on flyers at our event and presentation. We acknowledge that we are not licensed professionals to give professional advice on how to deal with any mental health struggles. But utilizing our resources, the internet provides many ways one can maintain a positive mentality throughout the process of sobriety. We
you.
hope to see you there at our event at Mary's Mercy Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
I feel like there are a bunch of names said before me, but I'm just going to go. So anyway, Christian Shaughnessy, good evening again, members of the council, community residents, leaders. A couple of weeks ago when Family Assistance Program still had our San Bernardino Youth Drop-In Center over on 7th Street, there was a person that came on down to the center. He got into an argument with one of our staffers. He also was rather argumentative and aggressive. It later turned out that person had actually brought a gun. He had brought a firearm to the center. And so tonight I just wanted to really give thanks to the men and women in the San Bernardino Police Department for doing everything they did to go and protect us and for everything they do every single day in the city. So let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name. If you hear your name, just come up to the podium. Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Carlos Zamora. Vengo del 345 East Central Avenue, San Bernardino.
Good evening. My name is Carlos Zamora, and I am here from the East District of San Bernardino.
El motivo de presencia aquí es que tengo el problema de que en allá donde estoy parqueo camiones y soy el único de esos lugares de ahí pegados a las bodegas de Amazon que me llegan todas estas citaciones en la cual no me permiten parquear camiones. Y llega la oficial.
So this evening, I am bringing this because I keep getting citations due to me parking my trucks. I own a yard, I own a lot. That lot it's an empty lot. I've been caring for it for a year and a half, and I've been feeling harassed by getting the citations by Monica Mijares. She keeps telling me that I'm not allowed to park trucks, and she constantly goes in there to take pictures and tell me that I am not allowed to park any trucks or have anything on the floor. Every time she goes, she finds any tedious things on the floor, like just tires that were changing out or anything of that sort, to be able to take pictures of it and give us a citation for.
Es correcto que ella pueda entrar sin mi autorización a la yarda porque solo entra y me discrimina y sale y yo quiero hablar con ella pero se va.
So I do feel discriminated. I wanted to ask if she's entitled to just walk in at any given time and take pictures. I try to talk to her, but by the time I come out, she's already gone.
Pues yo quisiera que me dieran la oportunidad de hacer todo lo que la ciudad me exige, ¿va? Para poder trabajar.
I want to get the opportunity to do everything that the city requires me to do so I can go ahead and continue working.
Es la yarda que está más limpia de esas cuadras de por ahí. Trato la manera de mantener lo mejor que se pueda y tiene su fence, está tapada, todo para que no se metan los homeless adentro.
So in that yard, it's the only yard that's fenced up and is the cleanest one within that area. It has a fence to avoid all the homeless from going in there. So I'm trying to get it all situated where I can continue working from there.
He trabajado durante año y medio duramente y ya para la edad que tengo 71 años, entonces me enferma eso de que la oficial Monique llegue porque me da mucho estrés, ¿verdad? Me siento yo como discriminado.
So every time she shows up, I do feel discriminated. I'm 71 years old. All I want to do is be able to continue working. I've been maintaining that lot for a year and a half already on my own. It is the cleanest one around that area.
Okay, gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And staff, will you have someone follow up with this gentleman's inquiry or concern? Thank you so much. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening, Council. My name is Georgia. I'm here again, exhausted, angry, and disgusted. The Department of Animal Services is making it harder than ever to save animals, likely because, as Director Watson herself stated, they're focusing on highly adoptable animals. That means the rest, those not young, cute, or perfect, are being killed if rescues don't pull them. killed without sedation, then rendered into byproducts. You've kept leadership in place that have made animals' lives miserable and terrifying them, even after surviving the trauma that brought them there. Here's what $11 million annually gets us. The department recently emailed out requests for help to mass transfer animals out of the state with no oversight of where they go. Hopefully not to facilities where it's legal to sell shelter animals for research and without transparency because we don't know. Out-of-state rescues dump some of these animals on local fosters and leave animals in boarding after collecting substantial pledges. I know because I am one of those fosters. Poor souls land in hoarding conditions. One North Carolina rescue who has received 150 of our senior dogs was charged recently with 53 felony counts of animal cruelty. 27 dogs were euthanized on the spot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
sent you an email. Please look at it.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Harry Hatch, Ward 7. I'm back. It's fireworks season. Did you know that you have a city ordinance that is not being enforced as regards to the sale and use of safe and sane explosives? I use the term explosives because the Department of Justice, or excuse me, the Department of Transportation of the United States classifies all common and safe and sane fireworks as an explosive, 1.4. We have an ordinance. There is nobody that will enforce the ordinance. It's not the police department's fault. It's not the fire department's fault. It's not code enforcement's fault. It's your fault. This is your liability issue. It has not been taken care of. We are in the state of emergency, whether you know it or not. We are liable for not enforcing these ordinances that have been passed. I wrote some of them for you. I gave you tools to use. You have not seen fit to tell any of the agencies to enforce them. Fireworks do no good. Please, take a look at it. Think about the moratorium. You may need the time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hello, everyone. Luis Ojeda. Thank you. I just wanted to ask the city manager and council mayor to please follow up with the plan that we have for the workshop for trucking yards and pallet yards to see how we can, make them in compliance. And the same way as you guys listen to everyone, you should listen to the business community as well. It's not all about nonprofits. I know that that's what you like and like to take pictures with them, that's fine. But the business, that's what make the money for the city. Another thing, and this goes for the special interest that watch the meetings, I will make you guys a recommendation. We need to shrink the council from 7 to 5. And I would like to ask council and mayor, how are we doing with the search of the city manager? Because with the longer we have interim, the more we're open to liability. I mean, I don't know why, but we have our former interim right now in the public. So I'm a little concerned about that. I mean, hopefully we won't hear about litigation or a lawsuit pretty soon. So that's why it's a matter of urgency for us to have a permanent city manager. Because Napoleon used to say, I'd rather have one bad general than 2 good ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good afternoon. This is Ivan Garcia. I'm a resident for the city and a volunteer. I've been involved since 2020. I'd like to say a prayer. Heavenly Father, bless our city, community, residents, nation with peace, prosperity, and a spirit of unity. I'd like to give some accolades to the city staff and Mr. Ernesto Salinas for putting the issue to sleep regarding the light fixtures. along Baseline from the 215 to Crestview Avenue. It's well lit. In my humble opinion, I think accidents are going to lessen along that street. And then also the other issue that I had was regarding the water leak at Waterman and Baseline. That's finally been resolved after a long time that it was open. I hope that doesn't happen again. Kudos to Parks and Recreation Community Service meeting that we have a meeting coming up tomorrow at 4 p.m. That's a huge accolade. And another accolade for the pavement management program. I think that's going to lessen my community time to our city because I spend about 4 to 8 hours a week submitting CRMs. I got 20 minutes. I'll end it with a quote for leaders. Leaders, true leaders, take responsibility for the success of the team and understand that they must also take responsibility for the failure. And that's from Mr. President Trump. And I'll end it with, como dice Can de Culiacán, amenazo, amenazo con volver.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Mike Hartley. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on fireworks. It used to be you had fireworks on the 4th of July. It's no longer just the 4th of July, it's all year around. And Harry said safe and sane. I haven't seen safe and sane in years. They're all illegal fireworks, and some of them are absolute bombs. Anyhow, I agree with the moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Joe Salas, Fourth Ward. Thank you for, first of all, City Manager Gaillard for getting a new American flag above City Hall. It looks really good. Thank you very much for that. It's important to us that we have those flags in place. Also, in regards to the commission meetings, I'm not sure, the discussion last City Council meeting was that staff was going to get back to the commissioners and survey them when they could meet. I haven't seen anything from my department yet, Parks and Recreation. I'm glad to hear that we're moving forward with the meeting, but 4 o'clock is tough for people who live or work outside of the area. Also, on the city manager survey, it's still up on the City Council website. I'd like to know what the city, number one, is doing with that data. Are they aggregating it in the different buckets? Is it being published to the community? And also, has the City Council members seen that data? Are you considering that feedback from the community in your decision making? There's been, over the last 2 weeks, there's been 2 meetings regarding looking for city council members. I am a lifeguard down at the beach, and I always tell my lifeguards that I supervise, when going to an emergency, do not become that emergency. Slow is pro. I do not see, I'm disagreeing for once with Ms. Ojeda, that this process should go slow. We have an excellent interim city manager right now, and I see no reason to rush the process.
Thank you.
Get a good one, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember.
Mr. Salas and community, thank you for bringing that on. We have received the survey. We received amazing input, and so we were all given it prior to us moving forward with interviews. So we did, and I'm sure everybody does, appreciate your input, and it's definitely something I'm taking into consideration with my vote. So thank you, and thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening, Council. Happy birthday, Mayor, people of San Bernardino City. My name is George Apostolopoulos. I am the Water Conservation Manager for Rainbird Corporation. We do all things irrigation, and being that you're a customer of ours, I decided to come here this evening so that you guys have a name and a face with someone that you can lean on for support as it pertains to irrigation, whether it's the sprinklers in the ground or the smart controllers with the remote access, that capabilities that we have, so you don't have a mainline break in the middle of the night and you don't know about it. So I pass out my information to, I think it's Courtney up front to the left here. All I ask is that you guys, if you do have questions, please reach out. We're here to help any way we can. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Al Palazzo, Mayor, Council members. I have a passion for every type of art to raise the human spirit and to strive for the high ideals that we as humans hope that we will achieve. As city manager, I would support the visual arts currently occurring in San Bernardino. I have my own list of private and public projects. Recently, I attended the beautiful Cesar Chavez mural. He was one of my idols growing up. Before he was famous, he had ties to San Bernardino. Carmen Navarez wrote this book describing those years. She was my friend, and she wrote this to me. To my friend Al, best wishes and success in fulfilling your dreams. She wrote this 15 years ago. When she came to this microphone, she wasn't allowed to speak because nobody told her she was only going to have 3 minutes. And by the way, I have an alternative solution if I became city manager. My first priority is how to build affordable housing. But I can't explain it to you in the time you give me. But I would like to know, have you received my materials, my resume, and the references? Because I haven't heard from anybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Edwin Delgado, Jose Zamora, Gina Morales, Soraya Alberti, Harold Hively, Regine Christopher Simon, Sheree Booker, Rashida Bedola, Rosie Lopez, Jacinta Valdez, Mike Casserly, Beth Alexander, Lynn Heidelbrand, and John Schollenberger.
Perfect. Please, if you hear your name, don't be shy. Step up. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, community of San Bernardino. My name is Edwin Delgado. I'm here representing Supervisor Joe Baca Jr., and I'm here to speak on item 12, which is a cooperative agreement with the city and the county of San Bernardino for rehab street projects, which includes pavement of streets, deteriorated roadways, and areas requiring immediate attention and 88 RAP assessments. And I just want to touch on a couple of projects that are on this list. It's six projects that are on these lists. Citrus Street and other roads is an investment that's going to touch areas close to Pacific High School over by the Del Rosa area. Linwood and other roads is going to touch our Arrowhead Farms County area and Del Rosa area and areas close to the city of San Bernardino. Blake Street, this is a fun one because it's going to touch State Street, Blake Street and other roads going to touch State Street and Muscoy areas, which is good for our college students who are driving to CSUSB, our commuters who are driving through State Street to get to University Parkway. And then we're also touching Old Waterman Canyon Road. With the city of San Bernardino's cooperation, we're also upgrading access to our mountain areas so our city residents and county residents can travel up to the mountain areas with repaved roads. And we appreciate the cooperation with the city of San Bernardino. We thank you all. Thank you.
And we thank you as well. Thank you. Next speaker. Hello, welcome.
Hi, so my name is Regine Christopher Simon.
I'm Soraya Alberti.
I'm Rosie Lopez.
I'm Sheree Booker.
And I'm Bracero Bedoya.
And myself and my group, we go to Cal State University San Bernardino, and we conducted a community advocacy project. So the results were pretty clear. Homelessness and the need for affordable housing are top priorities for the city of San Bernardino. What stood out to us in the responses we got was not just the call for urgency around the need for housing solutions, but also the community's understanding that it takes more than just a roof over someone's head to solve the homeless crisis. It takes mental health support and pathways back to stable ground to regain their footing. And I just urge the city council to take action to reduce homelessness And I'm in favor, of course, of expanding affordable housing. By doing so, we not only help those in need, but we also create a safer, more stable San Bernardino for all families, including our own. And just thank you guys for your time and for your continued dedication to making our city a place where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
Thank you. Thank you for your advocacy as well. Next speaker. John, if you want to go. Or welcome.
So I'll just make it quick. John Schellenberger. I'd like to support a moratorium on fireworks for a year. I think we're at that time now. With everything that's happened with the Edge Hill fire, let's look at even the Palisades and Altadena. Now I know that those weren't fireworks induced, but those potentials are here for us in San Bernardino with fireworks. You want to see the most elaborate illegal fireworks show you ever saw? Come to Arrowview. I don't leave my neighborhood every year because of it. They know what's going on. The fire station's right down the street. Why in the hell they're not up there, I don't know. Okay, and they're great guys, but you guys need to be over here. It's incredible. I stay there because if one of those things goes on my roof, I got to be over there to put out that fire with my garden hose until they get there. So, and not only that, my fire insurance went up $400 a year, and I'm not a person that can afford that. And it's probably going to go up again because of the Edge Hill fire. But $1,277 a year is nowhere near $6,000 a year for insurance. But still, I'm a single income person, and I'm on a very limited budget. So, but safety is more my concern. And there's a lot of that, like Hartley was saying. There's a lot of illegal fireworks going on around here. But that's nothing new. But anyway, yeah, please think about it for our safety. And because we are a city of trees, we got plenty of them to go up like a match. So let's seriously think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your participation. Next speaker. Hi, welcome. Good evening.
Hi. My name is Beth Alexander. I'm a 20-year member of the San Bernardino Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, and I have been the lodge treasurer for 13 years. As you know, there's a big difference between legal and safe and sane fireworks, illegal and safe and sane fireworks. But I wanted to share that the lodge is a 501c8 nonprofit organization, which was incorporated in 1903. As a 501c8 status, mandates 85% of our fundraising efforts go back to our charity projects and the community. Our lodge has had a fireworks booth in the city for approximately 25 years. This is now our major fundraiser since the 3-day Route 66 beer garden that we used to be able to have moved out of San Bernardino. The following is a list of some of the important projects that we have supported: scholarships to high school students in San Bernardino City Schools, option house for battered women and children, Christmas parties for homeless children and their families in the city schools and county schools. We have donated over $50,000 to the Loma Linda Children's Hospital. We support the Ronald McDonald House. We support the Western Regional Little League tournaments and the YMCAs of San Bernardino. Really?
That's it. I'm sorry, but thank you for all the work
Thank
that you
you.
do. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing with us. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Jacinta Valdez. I'm here to speak in regards to animal control. I'm going to keep it brief. Obviously, I only have 1 minute and 30 seconds. I was recently there to help an animal that someone had brought to my attention. The staff is awesome, kind, respectful, helpful, great. My issue is not with the staff. My issue is with the policies. Right now, if you go on social media, there are people who are becoming homeless and trying to relinquish their animals. They have no means to do so. They go to city animal control, and they're told, we have no means to help you. They're told to put their animal to death. Euthanasia. You can go get your animal euthanized. I had someone find an animal on the street. They took it to animal control. They checked it for a chip. No chip. And they said, oh, good, here. They said, no, we can't take your animal. We're full. They told them to take it back where they found the animal. Who in good conscience can take an animal back to say Highland and Del Rosa. Who's going to do that? But they can't necessarily take it in, so they're desperately on social media trying to seek help for this animal. We need to change policy, and that starts with you. We have changed leaders down at the animal shelter over and over and over again, and the problem is with policy. And just for the record, I think it's wrong that you censored all these people who sat here for so long waiting to speak, and all we get is 3 minutes, and you cut us to 1:30. I think it's wrong.
Thank you. Next speaker. Please. Microphones.
Hello, my name is Mike Casserly with TNT Fireworks. We're here to oppose the idea of a moratorium on the sale of fireworks. There is a big distinction between safe and sane fireworks and illegal fireworks. The state-approved fireworks are safe and sane. Those are regulated and tested by the State Fire Marshal Office. And these items are ground-based fountains that emit showers of sparks and crackle. They can't go higher than 10 feet or 10 feet wide. Illegal fireworks shoot up in the air, they explode, they cause a lot of the booms, they cause a lot of the complaints that we hear from a lot of people. Those are never sold at the fireworks stands that are operated by local nonprofits from July 1st to July 4th every year. In addition, for those local nonprofits, they are not only making revenue for their organizations, they also are required to collect a city fireworks surcharge. That surcharge is on top of every safe and sane fireworks sale. That money gets paid to the city of San Bernardino. The fireworks wholesaler then matches that fund, and I believe it was roughly an amount of $80,000 last year. That $80,000 goes to offsetting police department labor and fireworks enforcement costs for the week of 4th of July to help enforcing illegal fireworks. Eliminating safe and sane fireworks does nothing to fix illegal fireworks issues.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker. Hello, good evening, welcome.
Honorable Mayor Tron and City Council members, thank you for your service to the San Bernardino community during these somewhat challenging times. In addressing you this evening, my words are not to condemn, criticize, or cast judgment. Rather, I would hope to encourage you to identify problems and seek solutions to those problems. My questions refer to the legality and the efficacy of the council allowing San Bernardino Animal Control to refuse to take in animals. And this is described in California Animal Laws Handbook in section Penal Code 597.1 and sections of the Civil Code. My question refers to the council allowing the shelters to put employees in a potentially unlawful and uncomfortable situation by advising staff to advise people who have found an animal to, quote, relocate, unquote, the animal, knowing abandonment is against the law. Turning animals away can raise ethical concerns, and it can lead to the neglect and suffering of animals and people. Case in point, the people living near Arrowhead Credit Union observed on their Ring doorbell the beheading of a cat by 5 dogs. Having an open-door policy that does not discriminate the entry of animals can help prevent pain and suffering. I pray for all of us. I pray for all of us that we will all get together and create a more peaceful and gentle and merciful world.
Ma'am, could we please have your name ma'am, could we please have your name so that we can check you off the list? Hi, next speaker. Good evening.
Hello, my name's Harold Hively. I'm a 4-time past exalted ruler of the San Bernardino Elks Lodge. I also do not support a moratorium on fireworks. One of the gentlemen says that fireworks do no good. It's absolutely untrue. The firework in and of itself probably doesn't, but the money that we make from the sale of fireworks goes to charitable organizations throughout the state and throughout our local communities. As Beth mentioned, we give an enormous amount of money to crippled children, to our veterans, to so many different organizations, just individual organizations and the ones that she talked about. So the fact of the matter is that it isn't about the safe and sane fireworks. They're not starting trees on fire. They're not starting the fields on fire in 99% of the cases. It's all the illegal fireworks that we're right on top of the hill, and we get bombarded every year, and our thing starts on fire almost every 4th of July. But our police department and our fire department need to work on how they can control the illegal fireworks and give these people tickets. If they get a few tickets, they're going to stop buying this crap. It sounds like a war zone on the 4th of July. Our booth's right down here by Stater Brothers on Scooby Hobby. It's a war zone.
Thank you, sir.
But it's not the safe and sane.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not seeing any other speakers, so we'll move on to consent calendar.
Oh, no, we have additional speakers.
Oh, okay, please, if you've heard your name.
Sorry, I have another.
Okay.
Dolores Armstead, Vanessa Davidson, Jeanette Avila, Lydia Savala, Carlos Camacho, Uriel Placencia, Ben Pratt, Mitzpah Paul, Leslie Rivera, Cynthia Cortez, Mylene Miranda, Evelyn Olive, Elena Nelson, Brenda Moore.
Hi, welcome.
Good evening, Dolores Armstead. Your planning commissioners just approved a 3-story storage facility on Highland Avenue in the 6th Ward, 3 stories. The commissioners felt it was a great project. So San Bernardino is only good for storage facilities, warehouses, and car washes. San Bernardino now has 29 storage facilities, 9 in the 1st Ward, 9 in the 6th Ward. We have more than 50% of the storage facilities in those 2 wards, and you keep approving them. There are now 7 on Highland Avenue. 3 of those are in the 6th Ward. Why? This city needs retail, offices, and commercial. Instead, we get this crap. When will we begin updating the city's strategic plan or its plan so we can stop this crap from happening? When can the city get projects that move us forward? We continue to be listed as one of the worst cities to live in California because of crap like this. People, the council is supposed to work for us. All you people out there, the council is supposed to work for us. They get their salaries from our tax dollars, but you're not taking care of us. And also, the 6th Ward Planning Commissioner did not show up. And the next thing, the next thing is, what are we doing with Oxbow? Nothing's happened yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Move over to this side here. Hi, welcome, good evening.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Uriel Placencia. I'm a Cal State San Bernardino University student. But more than anything, I actually own a business here in San Bernardino. My business is on Del Rosa. I own a boxing gym. It's a not-for-profit boxing gym. One of the main things that I see come to my gym is children that are being bullied. And we're social work students, so one of the things that we got to look at was the demographics and what affects our youth. And we believe that we can do something about it, and we have a solution. So we've actually teamed up with 3 different gyms, one on the south side of San Bernardino, one in the center of San Bernardino, and us that's on the northern side. And excuse me, my voice is a little coarse, and I'm a little nervous. And what we've done is we've opened it up to the public, where we've invited the community to come, and so we can teach them some self-defense and some self-love. Because what we've seen is that the children that are being bullied, sometimes they lack, what is the word? They lack confidence in themselves, and then the bullies, they actually need love. They actually need someone to care for them, and we're trying to provide that for them. And so with this advocacy project, we're trying to move forward and make this something more permanent. So we're not really asking for anything in particular, but we would like your support in the future with maybe being able to host some of these events more often.
Thank you very much. We do recognize that there are quite a few students in here from Cal State San Bernardino. We simply want to extend our appreciation and gratitude for you being here and the advocacy that you provide and empowering others to make a change in their life as well. And so thank you to all of you who are here from Cal State San Bernardino, my alma mater as well, so thank you.
I'm so legit proud of each and every one of you, not only doing the research, but standing and speaking on it. That's an analysis, implementation, and changing the world. So go Coyotes, you guys rock.
Thank you. I know it could be a little, nerves might set in, but it's okay. We're here, we're all friends. That's all right. Next speaker. Hi, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Lydia Savala, and I'm here to share some new numbers with you. I'm here to share that the animal intake is on the rise. It has gone from 5,500 in 22 to 7,028 in 23 to almost 8,000. That's a 30% increase. So this comparison tells me that the policies and programs we have in place are not working. And my biggest concern is that we have a poor city and that the demographics of our city is being used as leverage to acquire grant money. But when that grant money is acquired, it's not used for the community. It's used for the city shelter, and the city shelter is hoarding services that were intended for the community. The $300,000 from the San Manuel grant, restricted grant, required, page 2, required written approval if those funds were to be used for any purpose. And they were not to be used for any purpose without prior written approval. Subsequent to a public records request, there was no written approval, contrary to what you were told 2 sessions ago.
Thank you. Hi, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ben Pratt. First of all, I want to thank the council for allowing me the opportunity to serve as a commissioner. I just returned from about a week and a half long trip from Washington, D.C., where I was attending a building and construction trades conference that my day job forced me to go to, I guess. So anyway, I promise what you'll get out of me is a boots on the ground commissioner that will do research and promote responsible development in this city. But yeah, that's me. I'm the guy that didn't show up. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Next speaker. We'll go to this side. Hi, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Moore, and I'm a member of Holy Land Church of God in Christ on 10th and G. And the area is getting ridiculous. A lot of sex trafficking and prostitution. And we're trying to start youth programs in that area. And we need more, we need a task force in that area to clean up that type of traffic in that area. We've complained a couple of times, more than a couple of times, and neighbors of the problem there. And on Sundays, you know, the community is full of prostitutes in the area. So we're requesting more police visibility and just be in our area and check the area out. You know, children have to go to school and church and everything, and the things that they have to be subject to is really terrible in that area. And also, we support this fire stand We've been on Waterman and Ninth for 21 years, and the resources that we get from that fireworks stand has been able to keep our church afloat. So I'm just would like you just to check into a couple things, that really concerns us and the community.
Thank you, and we will ensure that we have a staff member connect with you to collect your information as well. Thank you for sharing this evening. Hi, next speaker, I'm assuming students as well? All right, well, welcome. This is a friendly environment. No need to be nervous.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Vanessa Davidson. This is Jason Diaz. We're also from Cal State San Bernardino. We've also chosen to focus on the city of San Bernardino and focus on the unhoused and impoverished individuals. Currently, over a little of 13% of San Bernardino County residents are living in poverty, and though this is a significant decline that we've seen in the last 10 years, still families are unable to meet their needs. As we know, poverty can negatively affect and impact an individual's health, both physical and mental, and negatively impact their educational attainments. So it limits an individual's ability to truly meet their potentials. So with this in mind, we've decided to try and create our own comprehensive list of resources using information that we've gathered by contacting local organizations. Unfortunately, we found that although some information providing the location, time, and availability of programs such as Mary's Mercy Center are online, at times this information is unreliable. They list programs that are active when they're not, or they list programs that aren't available to members of the community. So we hope that by individually contacting these organizations, we can gain better insight into what programs are actually accessible, so that we can create material that we can then distribute to the most in need in San Bernardino. I thank all of you for your time and efforts to alleviate homelessness with the passage of projects that directly combat it and fund affordable housing projects.
Thank you, and thank you for your time and advocacy as well.
Thank you.
Hi, next speaker.
We're all gonna.
I'll flip a coin. How about that? I'll flip a coin and, okay.
Sorry.
Next speaker.
Hello, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mishpa Paul. I'm also a student attending Cal State San Bernardino, Go Yodis, and my major is social work. We're all here to help the city be the best it can, and with that thought, our group has conducted a community advocacy project in San Bernardino. As a team, we've gone through our designated area and assessed the needs of our community. We created an overview where we found that our community's needs was to, again, help the homeless population in the community, and we then created a community needs assessment where community members filled out surveys we created and shared their experiences as well as concerns and needs. We then implemented a community action plan where we address how to solve this issue, and our solution was to create care packages and distribute them in areas around CSUSB. And I would like to hand it off to my friend Leslie to give some more insight and specifics on our project.
Hello. So my name is Leslie Rivera. I'm a junior at CSUSB. I'm also a social work student. So I personally live on campus. So living on campus gives me a very close perspective on the community, both the challenges and the strengths that it has to offer. The community around CSUSB is very diverse with a mix of students, families, and long-term residents. It's a blend of various socioeconomic backgrounds, with some areas experiencing higher level of poverty and others being more residential and affluent. As a resident, I've experienced firsthand how this diversity impacts the daily life of people who live here. I've had experiences where I have had to rely on limited transportation or have felt safe on walking at night, which is something many people in this area face. These are everyday struggles that go beyond being a student. They affect the residents here as well. As a resident of the area, I have also helped create a survey to gain further insight into the community. It was important to hear directly from the people about their experiences and concerns. While I won't be discussing the survey results today, as my classmates will be covering that, being part of the process really deepened my connection with the community that I live and study in. The responses we gathered were eye-opening, and hearing what people had to say motivated me to become more involved. It gave me a clear picture of the challenges people face, which has inspired me to act on it. Now, I'd like to hand it over to Cynthia, who will take you through the detail of our community needs assessment and discuss the survey results in depth, along with how they inspired us to take action. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Cortez. I am also a student, like everyone else here, at Cal State San Bernardino. My career goal is to impact our students in our educational system as a LCSW. When we engage with our community, we gathered their thoughts. Going out to community was impacting. There were people that were very passionate to let us know what were some of the community needs. Also, just getting that one-on-one interaction with people, talking to people from different backgrounds and ages, especially with social media being used more often. It was easier for us to just post a survey out there to our followers and, and get their feedback, but we wouldn't be really targeting the area that we were assessing. They shared a lot of their ideas about what changes they would like to see moving forward, from roads being fixed and affordable housing, a decrease of violence and substance abuse and access of transportation. One concern that was reoccurring was the population of the homeless in the area. The homeless population is growing, and there are multiple reasons why from other counties dropping them off, trying to sweep them out of their cities, and limited shelter and support services, mental health, and substance use disorder. Listening to the concerns has inspired me. The community concerns of the homelessness.
I'll give you 5 seconds. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay. The community concerns of the homeless population inspired me to want to help this population one way or another, because they are always ignored or pushed to the side. Although there are some programs that can help, there isn't enough. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker. Hi, welcome.
Hello, my name is Mylene Miranda. I am also a student at Cal State San Bernardino, majoring in social work. My goal is to get my master's and become a school social worker. So with this, we recently conducted an online survey to gain deeper insight from our community, from individuals who we may have caught while walking around. The survey showed several concerns within our community, including high rent costs, safety issues, unreliable public transportation, lack of job opportunities, and the presence of jobs. These are just a few of the issues raised from the survey that we conducted. I would like to now pass it over to Evelyn. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Olive, and I, too, am a social worker student at CSUSB. I hope to become a disability rights advocate and continue working in the field of policy. Sorry. I'd like for you to think about your drive here tonight. How many people living on the streets, also known as homeless, which has become a negative word, did you see? Did you see 1, 2, any at all? In our social work policy class, we have a saying, now times that by 3. Our mind has a way of hiding things that we deem unpleasant. At home tonight, you'll probably have the chance to wipe off the dirt from the day from your face, brush your teeth, things that are actions that can fight off infections. You might be able to put on clean socks tomorrow that have no holes in them. Actions that homeless don't actually have most of the time, or people living on the streets. From our surveys and our chances to go out and step out into the community, we found that the most impactful action plan for us would be to hand out care kits. And items within those care kits would be bandanas so that they could wipe off the face, wipe off their hands, be able to eat something that may be also in that care kit, toothbrushes, socks that are clean. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here with us this evening. Next speaker.
Hi, council and community. My name is Elenia Nelson Parker. I'm a military veteran who's also a junior at CSUSB. My major is social work and my minor is psychology. My future career goals include my LCSW, maybe even a PhD, and I plan on working in forensic social work. The unfortunate truth is, just as my groupmate Evelyn shared, most people don't actually see the homeless. And I mean this literally, they have become invisible to society. Most homeless individuals were once a part of the working class just like us. They were regular people who met unfortunate circumstances they could not recover from. Anyone could lose their job. They could get fired, they could get sick, they could break a bone, anything could happen. And if you're like 1 in 4 Americans with less than $1,000 in your savings account, you could be in big trouble. And services like unemployment, workers' comp can take weeks to months to process. If this individual lacks a strong support system, in a short time they could eventually become homeless. Does that word, homeless, overshadow the years of work and make them less valuable? I encourage the community and the council to answer that with a strong and resounding no. With these individuals on our minds and in our hearts, we ask this council and the community's help in reaching our goal of 50 care kits. These kits would include necessary hygiene items, dental products, soaps, and socks. We are petitioning for these donations in kind or in monetary donation. We have a flyer here, and we will also be hanging out around after the meeting if anybody would like to donate to our cause. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, and thank you to you and all the students who are here this evening. We certainly want to reinforce our commitment to the relationship we have with CSUSB and all the educational institutions in the city as well. So thank you. I'm not sure which professor is watching this tonight, but you all deserve an A for being out here tonight. So we'll let them know. What's the professor's name? Godoy? Okay. They all deserve an A. Thank you for being here this evening with us. Next speaker. Hi. Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kimberly Calvin here. I'm here tonight to share with community the many illegal actions regarding paying Steve Kerrigan our hard-earned tax dollars. Mayor and Council, you know that you had intentionally lied to community, concocted a false report, lied on myself and Councilmember Ortiz while knowing there were multiple proven leaks as mentioned in former City Manager Clayton's claim, the JL Group, and above all, City Attorney shared that Damon Alexander had left his book in public multiple times and it had been returned to the mayor's office. Did you read it, Sanchez, Ibarra, Figueroa, Mayor Tran? I know you did, and I know that you still lied to the people. I did, and I read it, and I know that IECN has published today, what they have published today is truth. Now that we have a copy of a document that shows Susie Soren edited the JL Group's report through a PRA request, you all knew she was editing that investigative report, but you allowed this corrupt act to continue. How do you think that the people should not be aware of what is happening in the city of San Bernardino? You are absolutely corrupt. You've colluded for nearly 2 years to create a false narrative and a fake report and have grossly misused the people's funds by paying Kerrigan and not fighting this claim. As I fight Kerrigan's claim in court, my attorney has requested that the JL Group investigation report multiple times since last August, and the city clerk's office has not provided it, which is a violation of the Brown Act, and you just settled a claim against the city due to the city clerk's office not providing PRA requests in a timely manner. So Councilwoman Canas, please share why your commissioner thinks that these claims are fake and members of the council are quite corrupt. Public documents aren't being provided to the public, and no amount of positive embellishment will ever rid our council and our city of corruption. That's your job. You must do that. You must hold your colleagues accountable. Don't go after good council members, staff, or community members who speak up. We demand transparency and accountability from all of you.
Thank you. Do we have any other, anybody left on the list there?
That concludes the speakers for tonight, but we did receive written comments that have been provided to the mayor and council for review, and that they can also be found on the website attached to the agenda packet.
Thank you very much. At this point, we will be moving on to the consent calendar. Mr. City Manager, are there any polls at this time?
None. Thank you.
Okay. I'll go ahead and ask, I'll go down the line here with council members if they wish to have any polls or questions. Councilmember Ibarra.
Number 11.
Okay, number 11. Councilmember Canas? None? Councilmember Sanchez?
None.
None. Councilmember Ortiz?
11 and 12.
11 and 12. I have none. Councilmember Flores?
None.
None. And Councilmember Charette?
No.
None as well. We have a motion and a second to move the balance. I invite you to please cast your votes on your screen.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. We will move on to item number 11, pulled by Councilmember Ibarra and Ortiz. I'll start with Councilmember Ibarra down at the end.
Yes, I'm trying to see maybe if our staff or city manager can look into this. A lot of these monthly rental for leased vehicles, those prices are a bit too high for being leased vehicles. And I'm trying to see if we can also do a motion to request RFPs to look for other providers for leased vehicles. Because we're looking at over $1,000 for a Chevy Tahoe, for example. I don't know who pays that much for a vehicle lease. I personally don't. I'm buying my own vehicle for less than $500 a month. And once again, I saw these amounts and they're pretty high for our city to be paying. We're paying for 122 vehicles, over $96,000 a month. So if we can do an RFP to get new leased vehicles.
Thank you, Councilmember Ibarra. If I could have Lynn, our Public Works Director, address that item, please.
We don't disagree with that. One of the recommendations in the staff report is that we are recommending that no further vehicles be leased or be acquired through the leasing program at this time until we can actually get a better handle on what our vehicle replacement is. I was not here when the lease was proposed back in August of 2022, but this is pretty extensive as far as the costs go. It also leads us to some other questions regarding that it's a 5-year lease, and we need to look at what happens at the end of the 5 years in terms of whether or not you would go and buy the vehicle out, whether you would go and turn it back in and then renew a lease. And so all of that needs to be explored, and that's why we're asking the council to, we're recommending to the council that we do not continue the lease until we can get a better handle on the vehicle replacement.
Thank you, and that would be the motion I go for.
Okay, was that it, Councilmember?
Yes, that would be my motion to follow staff's recommendation. Because they're leased vehicles. I know Enterprise, and they're too high.
Okay, thank you. We also have Councilmember Ortiz, who pulled the item as well. Councilmember.
Yes, and I concur with my colleague. I remember in 2022 speaking on this, about the fact that the city sole sourced our leasing, which to me, sole sourcing is if there is a very limited exposure of a chance of somebody being able to take on a contract. Like, there's really only one vendor that does this. But leasing vehicles is an institution. And so I really appreciate you assessing this and bringing this to a close for us. I think that we need to, as a city, work on being transparent. When at all possible, we need to be taking out RFPs to look at the most competitive bidding process so that we can see, and the community, more importantly, can see who we're working with, what we're getting, and why. And so thank you so much, Lynn. I really always appreciate you and the things that you do. And so I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Move to approve. And on Woman Ibarra's thing to ask for the RFP to be brought back if that needs to be done.
Thank you. Any other council members wishing to speak on this item?
I do have a question.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Is it typical I see that the payment for the 24-25 year is $2.1 million. Is that typical to do a one lump sum payment on a essentially now almost a past fiscal year lease agreement?
No, actually, this program has actually been a monthly payment, and this is correcting the fact that we did not have enough budget for the year to make those payments, as well as allocating the funding for next fiscal year to make the payments.
How many months did we go without paying the enterprise?
We've actually been making the payments, but we need to correct that with this action item to allocate the funding.
So you guys were making the payments without the accounts having the money for it?
We actually had the money, it's just that it was not formally allocated in the budget amendment as you're seeing here.
Okay. Thanks. Move to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other council members wishing to speak? No. Councilmember Ibarra, you pulled the item. Do you have any closing comments on it?
No, just that we revisit, because that's a lot of money for one whole entity, especially when they're leased vehicles. I'm very concerned.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember.
you.
Councilmember Ortiz, you co-pulled the item as well. Do you have any closing comments on this?
Make sure that we're looking at local vendors when we do go out for RFP for that extra consideration. Thank
We
you.
will do so.
And then
Thank
just
you.
a quick question. Right now, you want us to approve paying them the difference?
You actually are, we're asking you to allocate the funding formally to make the payments for the lease payments, the monthly lease payments for both this year as well as for the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay.
And then we would be done with them.
Actually not. These leases started in October 2022. The current leases, those vehicles that were received in October will be coming up in 5 years. So that would be 2027. And then any vehicles that we're leasing now would go until 2030. So we will be making these payments for quite a while. That's also part of the reason why we are recommending suspending it, because it is a significant amount of money.
Okay, thank you. Last call? All right. We have a motion and a second. I'll invite council members to please cast your vote on your screen.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We're almost at the finish line here. Item number 12 was pulled by Councilmember Ortiz. Councilmember.
Just real quick, because the county supervisor's rep did a great job, but I wanted to ask you, when it says approve the cooperative funding for the Waterman Canyon Road and other roads, what's I guess, the distance, or what exactly is that area? I think I missed that.
There should be a map in your packet that outline the area that we're going to be paving on Old Water Canyon.
I don't have it, and I'm sorry
Okay,
about that. If
I
you
can
could-
share it with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I come and share it with you on the stage, or no?
Okay, that's perfect, yeah. And that's in the fourth ward, right?
Yes.
So, okay,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
that was part of like I think that was really my question,
Yeah.
is this is not the highway, this is actually the road that jets off.
Correct.
And so that's a part of
Correct.
our joint
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
Yes, that's correct. As a matter of fact, if they pave it, the only section will be left out is our section, and I don't want to leave, you go into a paving, then the road will look bad, and then we go into another paving. It's just a middle section on Old Water Canyon that will be cohesive and will include all the pavement along that stretch.
Okay, perfect, I just wanted to clarify. All right, thank you, then I move to approve, thank you.
Second.
Any other council members? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second. Council members, please cast your votes on your screen.
Councilmember Ortiz? Okay. A motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, we are moving on to items to be considered for future meetings. I will remind council members that these items aren't necessarily up for discussion as far as the merits of the item. However, I will allow for clarification if clarification is needed. So item number 13 is a one-year moratorium on the sale and use of fireworks within the city of San Bernardino. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if that requires any additional, but if council member, it's your item.
Really is, as we get questions, all I want to be able to do is just support, like, where are we as a body? Do we want to do something or do we not? And that's really what, if we bring it back, it would have to be expeditiously. If not, then you guys get your fireworks this year.
Okay. Well, I guess I have to be careful with this because this isn't really an argument on the merit of it, but really more procedurally. This is something that we already discuss yearly anyways, I believe, in May, right around May or June, as far as setting the rates and the
regulatory fee.
permits and things like that.
Yeah. So annually, we set the regulatory fee we're bringing it back in June, the first meeting in June.
Okay. So would this then be redundant if it's already,
No, so what Councilmember is putting forward is a moratorium.
so it would be separate from,
Sale and use of fireworks in the city, is that correct?
Yeah, so, well, with that being said, then could that come back as like an option for council? Like to what he's saying, is that something, or is that a completely separate thing than fees?
It certainly could. However, we already received 27 applications for permits this year. So I would mention that it may be late to execute something like that this year, but maybe keep in mind for next year. But it certainly is for discussion.
Well, but could it be done?
It could be done.
Okay, so if we could put a moratorium, that's what I'm asking. So we can, and really it's just if the council wants to, we want to. If not, then fireworks continue this year and we'll go to the fees. That's what, that'll be that's my request in essence.
okay. Anybody else have any comments on just clarifying the procedurally what we're doing here? Not necessarily the merits of the request, but just procedurally what we're doing? No? Okay. Go ahead, Councilmember.
I didn't hear all the discussion, and I didn't get clarification on what this item is and how it connects to when we talk about the 27 applications in when, May or June. I didn't hear all the conversation is all. I just need some clarification on this moratorium. Is it going to come back at the same time?
Yes, we can certainly bring it back at the same time.
Bring it back at the same
So
time
either
to
you'll
talk about the future year
Well,
or whenever?
So it sounds as though it would have to be a separate item, because for this year, that's already being agendized. So this is completely separate.
okay, we could still stop it this year, but I do want you all to be aware that we have already received 27 applications this year. Okay. We can bring it back as one item and then give 2 recommendations.
Okay.
If that's what the council would prefer, yes.
My apologies. So basically, if they agree to bring this back as a discussion, it would bring it as a discussion for an option. If they don't, then we just keep moving forward with the 27 applications for this year. Nothing changes.
What we would be moving forward with is setting the regulatory fee.
Right.
Yes.
With no moratorium.
Correct.
Or no option for one. Okay.
Correct.
That's, yeah.
I'm still a bit confused. Is this going to come back at that time?
If you say yes. If you say yes, it will.
So we'll be, okay.
It will only come
But we
back-
won't approve it then. I mean, that'd be foolish at that, to impact those 27.
So just to clarify, we will be coming forward with an item to set the annual regulatory fee.
Right.
Should council choose to bring this item back for further discussion, that will be included as a recommendation. So you would go with either setting the fee or the moratorium.
Clear? Any other questions on just, again, procedurally, what we're trying to do here?
I won't be supporting going forward with this.
I'm not sure if there's a motion and a second. Okay, motion by Councilmember Ortiz. Is there a second?
I'll do the second, but this is to bring it back also in May, so we can do the moratorium this year. Yes, yeah.
Okay, there is a motion by Councilmember Ortiz, second by Councilmember Ibarra. Councilmembers, I invite you to please cast your votes on your screen.
Just for clarification, this is, when this item gets brought back to us, it's for the 2 recommendations, right? One for the 27 applications, and the other one is another recommendation for the moratorium for discussion.
Too, but it's not for the applications, it's just setting the regulatory fee. We already have that established where we can issue up to 35 permits per year. We already received the 27 applications and the deadline passed March 31st. So this is just setting the regulatory fee, the annual fee. Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
These are already approved?
One more
nonprofits?
clarification.
These are already approved? So they're expecting this? Okay.
One
But
more.
could,
It's off. The night that this comes back to set the fee, it's going to come back as two items. Either set the fee or don't, or have a moratorium.
Well, it's one item, two different recommendations.
Right,
So
and the
if you go-
recommendations at this point in time would be either set the fee or vote for a moratorium. Which if we voted for a moratorium, those 27 nonprofits would be out of luck this year.
That is correct.
Can't support that.
Okay, Councilmember, I think Ortiz, followed by Councilmember Flores. Did you have anything else? I know it's turning into a discussion item at this point, and that's what I'm trying to avoid here. So I think it's clear at this point what we're trying to do, and so I would, yeah.
Motion passes 4-3 with Councilmember Sanchez, Charette, and Canas voting in opposition.
Next item is number 14, interim homeless housing solutions, enhancing the city's capacity to effectively transition individuals off the streets. And this item is being brought forward by Councilmember Canas. Would you like to speak on this item, please?
I'd like to move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any clarification by any council members? Here,
well, is it to bring back policies? Is it to bring back an item for finance? Like, are you, like, what do we, I guess what would be the, not that I support it, but what is the purpose? Is it to fund something, or is it to?
No, there's no funding. It's to have a collective discussion as a council. I know there's a lot of community talk in regards to how we're going to handle the homelessness, which we know is very prevalent in the city of San Bernardino. I've heard things being mentioned of tent cities, being spoke of with external partners, and I think it's really imperative that we do have this discussion collectively as a council. It is a #1 issue in our city, so this is to be able to provide an appropriate forum for us to come together and have that discussion. I know that we've passed 2 recent agenda items, so I think that staff with what, context can be provided from what's already out there. I know our Deputy Director of Homelessness, we haven't heard much from her. It's actually quite refreshing to have heard from her from the last 2 meetings. I've learned a lot of things that I did not know. So I think this also gives an opportunity for us to be apprised of what really is going on, the efforts that are being made by our staff that we just have not been apprised of. I know that our CM is working to schedule a workshop for us so that we can get up to date on things even like the Navigation Center. So I think this coincides with the efforts that are already in works. But again, it brings together that platform so that we can collectively discuss this and make decisions as a council.
thank you, Councilmember. Okay. Council members, your screen is up to cast your vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I'm learning that when multiple microphones are on, mine turns off or whatever. I'm not sure how that works, but anyways, that's fine. We are moving on to, is it council announcements at this time, or where are we going here?
Yes, Mayor and City Council updates.
All right, council member updates. Councilmember Ibarra, do you have any announcements or updates to provide at this time?
Not at this moment.
Thank you. Councilmember Canas, do you have any announcements or updates to provide?
I just want to congratulate our local middle school, Cesar Chavez. The Chavez Rattlers cheer squad just took first place for the San Bernardino City Championship. So congratulations to the cheer team at Cesar Chavez Middle School.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sanchez.
I want to thank the Water Department. Miguel Guerrero and his team gave myself, former Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra, and Mayor Pro Tem Charette a tour of the water reclamation plant, and the work they do over there is pretty incredible. I think we take for granted how much is involved and the expertise and the, frankly, the high-end technology that goes into play to keep our water supply coming in through our tap and the wastewater out and away from us. So they do an incredible job. Didn't realize how much is involved in that. And it was eye-opening, and they were friendly, and I don't think we even did the whole facility, and we were there for a couple hours. That's how extensive the compound is. So thank you to the Water Department for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Ortiz.
Yeah, just attended a bunch of events, but I wanted to really shout these organizations out. So Arrowhead United Way did their breakfast, gave awesome scholarships to our local students. Time for Change had their gala. It was beautiful. The women that are going through this program are truly inspiring. So don't ever think that your circumstance dictates your future. And so Kim Carter and Vanessa Perez, big shout out. Partners Against Violence, I know Councilmember Sanchez and Mayor and I were there, and that is, it's truly a thing to see. They have a presentation going on of what was called What Was I Wearing, which brings awareness to victim shaming in rape. And so I think that is something that it was hard, but it was good to be a part of. The Neighborhood Association Council did a appreciation day to public safety, and that was amazing. Fire, PD, everybody came, and just the amazing work that our neighborhood associations do to bring everybody together is cool. Teamsters Car Show was amazing. The Harleys, the Bugs, and all the old school cars were great. And then the unveiling of the Cesar Chavez mural, and I think Ernesto and your team and everybody in Park and Recreation who just go above and beyond to beautify our city and keep that investment flowing. So, and last but not least, just in the honorees of birthdays from the mayors, I want to give a shout out to John Schoenberger from the Arrowhead, president of the Arrowhead Neighbor Association. Happy birthday. And Victor Suarez, my Arts and Historical Society commissioner. I wish you guys a great day and a happy new birth year.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you for the reminder of the birthdays. I feel like a horrible mom. I have to give the two cutest curly-headed kids in the city of San Bernardino a warm happy birthday. My babies, Asher and Ari. They share me with the city of San Bernardino, and I miss a lot. So happy birthday to my babies. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember, and happy birthday to them as well. Councilmember Flores.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Attended also the Arrowhead United Way. Want a big shout out to them for all the work that they do in our community. Went to the Partners Against Violence open house as well. Attended this Cesar Chavez mural unveiling. I would shout out to Ernesto and the team for all the incredible work that you guys do and just beautifying our areas and preserving the history, especially with that tree. That was really cool. Went to the Teamsters Car Show this past Saturday, and then also last Friday I was able to do Career Day at Ramon Alessandro Elementary School. So it's very interesting how the minds of elementary school kids work and how very insightful and how complex their questions were at such a young age, asking me things. So I really appreciate them and their engagement while they had me there.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Charette.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Attended Coffee with a Cop for the Northeast District yesterday at Two Guys Pizza up on Highland Avenue. I'm going to probably get in a fight with some of my colleagues here, but Lieutenant Luna is probably the best district commander in the city. He does a great job, and he gets a great turnout there for his Coffees with a Cop, but no, kudos to all of our district lieutenants. Also attended the Lighthouse for the Blind. It was mentioned in the city manager's announcements. Stater Brothers Computer Lab. The Lighthouse for the Blind is a great organization here in town. They get no public funds whatsoever. Stater Brothers, I think the ask or the talk at the beginning of this computer lab that they put in, that's all for incredible technology for the blind to use and get on laptops in order to be very independent, and it allows them to order food maybe through the pickup services or clothes or get online or whatever. Anyway, the beginning, I think, number was somewhere around $30,000, and I think it ended up being over $160,000 that Stater Brothers donated for that computer lab for the blind. And both organizations deserve a round of applause for what they do in our community. Stater Brothers, of course, is hit up by everybody, but they come through, and they partner with a lot of groups here in town. And then, as my colleague said, I did attend the water department tour. That's phenomenal. The equipment, people turning on the faucet and getting a glass of water or flushing a toilet. They take that for granted, and it's very interesting to see what goes on in order to take dirty water and make it clean, and what we do here in San Bernardino. And we are blessed to have an abundance of water, though it does need to be, we need to be conservative about it. So anyway, enjoyed that, and that's it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Oh, and happy birthday to anybody that gets a birthday today, the mayor and your babies.
This whole month, and Albert as well.
Albert, happy birthday.
All right. Happy birthday to everybody. Yeah, we should have had cake this time. But yeah, well, we would have been throwing it around up here, I'm not sure. But you know what, we actually have been very well behaved and professional, so thank you to all the council members for your professionalism. Councilmember Charette, we might have to go fisticuffs here, because I think Oldendorf and Echeverria are pretty good lieutenants down on my end as well, so. They're okay. Yeah. But I want to also take a moment to extend my apologies to my colleagues, specifically Councilmember Canas and Councilmember Flores. At the last council meeting, when I was chairing the meeting, I unfortunately, I messed something up a little bit, an opportunity specifically for them to have an opportunity with their commissioners. So my apologies to their commissioners and to Councilmember Canas and Councilmember Flores as well. It really should have been an opportunity for me to recognize a separation of taking it, by wards, so that you would have an opportunity to be up on stage with your commissioners. And I apologize that I wasn't thinking in that moment to have done that. So I want to extend my profound apologies to the both of you and to your commissioners as well. I thank them for stepping up, and I just feel bad that I took away an opportunity for them to be celebrated with their council member on stage. So my apologies to the both of you and to your commissioners as well. I did have an opportunity to attend the Lytle Creek Park mural unveiling. Thank you, Ernesto, for doing such a great job. You, your team, your staff, everybody, thank you so much for the work that you do. It was great seeing many people there. I think Councilmember Flores, Sanchez, Ortiz. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but I think that the mayor was there as well, Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. We had representatives from, I believe, James Ramos's office and Eloise Gomez-Reyes as well. I'm sorry if I left anybody out, but and San Manuel as well, who has been very generous with the city as well, in helping many of our parks. So a big thank you to them as well. I did also have an opportunity to attend the Teamsters, the car show this past weekend as well. It was very hot that day. And immediately had to do a wardrobe change to head down to the Cambodian New Year celebration. I think Councilmember Sanchez was there as well, who participated in one of their dances, and he was having a good time down there as well. So Happy New Year's to them also. And I encourage the public to please go out to the extravaganza this coming Saturday, starting at 10:30. It'll be a lot of fun. Bring the kids and have their Easter baskets ready for a lot of fun there as well. And the National Orange Show, starting, I think the kickoff is today, going on through the weekend. So please head out there and have some fun this weekend. Of course, it's probably going to be a little rainy. I think the forecast calls for some rain, but that shouldn't scare anybody away. And then in closing, I'd also like to close, before we do move over to closing the meeting, I want to take an opportunity to recognize one of our firefighters, Ryan Spandrio, who was stationed on E Street at the fire station there, unfortunately, tragically lost his life recently. And so I'd like to have a moment of silence and ensure that we close the meeting in his name as well. So just if we can have a moment of silence for our firefighters, and just letting them know that we appreciate the work that they do, and they are in our hearts. Okay, thank you. We will move on to adjournment. The next joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council, and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, and the Mayor and City Council acting as the San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino acting as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority will adjourn to the regular meeting to be held on May 7th, 2025 at the Feldheim Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92410. Closed session will begin at 4 p.m. and open session will begin at 5 p.m. And again, just to remind that we will be closing in the memory of Ryan Spandrio as well. Thank you.